Turner Network Television presents Super Football Saturday. Today's matchup features the Tar Heels of North Carolina against the 12th-ranked Florida State Seminoles. Brought to you by Buick and your Buick dealers. For comfort, innovation, and a real commitment to quality, it's today's Buicks. And by Coors and Coors Light. Beers with a difference worth tasting.
From Doak Campbell Stadium on the campus of Florida State University in Tallahassee, it's the Tar Heels of North Carolina versus the 12th-ranked Florida State University Seminoles. Hello, everybody. This is Bob Neal, and this looks to be a very good football matchup today. But all week long here in Tallahassee, football has not been the story. The story and the talk has been about the death of a Florida State University football player. Earlier last week, offensive tackle Pablo Lopez was shot and killed. The 21-year-old junior from Miami was shot following an argument at a fraternity dance on campus early last Saturday morning. Byron Johnson, a Tallahassee resident who is not an FSU student, has been charged with first-degree murder. The death has had a stunning effect on the FSU team. Lopez, seen here with his best friend on the team, Fred Jones, was a native of Puerto Rico who grew up in Miami. He was the best offensive lineman and a popular leader on this team and had been married only 1 week prior to his death. His Seminole teammates attended memorial services here on campus Monday to share their grief and remember their friend and fellow athlete. Seminole head coach Bobby Bowden attended the funeral in Miami. He has experienced tragedies involving players before, but Bowden said this one was the most difficult.
It's not like anything I've ever had. I've been coaching for 34 years, and in that time I've had players killed, you know, accidents or something like that. Not many, but this one was different because it happens on your campus in front of your eyes with his mother way off who can't speak English, and lovable, very lovable young man, and so, no, I hope I don't ever have to go through this one again.
During the 1986 season, the Florida State University Seminoles will be wearing this decal on the back of their helmets that says Low, the nickname of Pablo Lopez, in memory of their friend and their teammate. Tim Foley has joined me now, and Tim, I might add one thing, that another player involved in that incident who was not injured but a player on this team, linebacker Ed Clark, has been suspended from the team and is involved in the investigation, and we'll keep up to date on that as the weeks go by. But let's turn to football now, and what kind of effect would an incident such as this, the death of Pablo Lopez, have on the Florida State football team?
Well, Bob, I think you have to look at it two ways, one from the emotional impact and the other from the personnel impact. I think in terms of emotion, I think there's probably a two-stage effect there. One is just shock, disbelief, which leads to a feeling of who cares about football in a situation like this. What's left after that original feeling dissipates, I think, is some anger and some bitterness. And what better place to funnel that anger than out here on the football field this afternoon? I'm one that tends to believe that adversity usually unites a team and brings a team closer together. I think you'll see FSU high emotionally. But from a technical standpoint, here's a team that had trouble in the offensive line against Nebraska, lost Dukes and Ionata coming into the season, and now they lose their best offensive lineman. So I don't know if they can overcome that or not.
Well, this game earlier in the year looked to be possibly a little bit of a breather for Florida State after Nebraska and prior to Michigan, but that may not be the case. North Carolina is tough.
They really are. And Dick Crum has built his success on the ground, got away from it for the last couple of years, started throwing the ball a little bit more due to personnel, but now he is back on the ground. It's a little bit like a NASCAR racer who was successful for 12 years in the NASCAR circuit and then tried Formula One for a couple of years, and now he's back at the World 600. They've got some people that can run the football.
And interestingly enough, the Florida State University kicking game is very good. North Carolina's kicking game is shaky. That could have a big influence on today's game. And we're going to be talking about the matchups between these two teams as we go along. But we're just a couple of minutes now away from kickoff. And before we come back for the coin toss in that kickoff, we're going to return you to our studios in Atlanta.
Very much, and we'll keep an eye on how that death of Pablo Lopez affects the Florida State team today. Many of our people in the Midwest will get to see Pitt and Purdue do battle this afternoon, a big intersectional game that features freshman quarterback Jeff George of Purdue. Last week in his opener as a collegian, he threw a touchdown pass against Ball State, but he also had 3 intercepted. He's going against the Panther defense today, not Ball State, and we'll see how well he fares against Pittsburgh, usually a good defensive team. One of the other games that we'll keep you updated along as we go throughout the day Saturday is a big game in the east or in the southeast, and that is Alabama against Florida down in Gainesville. The 4th-ranked Crimson Tide with their really first severe test of the season other than the Ohio State game, but this game played on enemy turf will be a tough one for the Crimson Tide to win. 2 games already in progress. Virginia Tech is at Syracuse. Syracuse is 0-2 coming into this game, and they're headed to be 0-3 as Virginia Tech has jumped out to a 10-0 lead. Maurice Williams, a 23-yard touchdown run for the first score of that game. Another game underway already. Wake Forest, with a field goal in the first quarter, leads North Carolina State 3-0. Our national game this evening that kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern Time will pit 6th-ranked Nebraska against Illinois up in Champaign, Illinois, and that'll be one to keep an eye on, Illinois losing last week. And we'll keep you updated all day long, but now let's go back to Tallahassee for the opening kickoff, which is moments away, North Carolina and Florida State.
There come the Florida State University Seminoles and the Tar Heels of North Carolina. Chief Osceola, the mascot on Renegade, the Appaloosa pony that is the war pony for the Seminoles here. You see that spear is burning and it's about to be thrown into the ground right in front of the Tar Heels, a tradition here in Tallahassee. We'll be back with a kickoff right after this.
Announces the big one, 2.9 annual percentage rate GMAC financing, now on any new 1986 Buick. Sure, others are offering special financing, but then they're not selling Buicks. 2.9% financing on every new 1986 Buick. Or choose cash back of up to $1,500 depending on model selected. Length of finance contract is limited. Hurry, you've got to see it to believe it.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
I always thought that time was a measure of quality. Now they've got technology that can cut the time of aging beer to that. Bam! Instant beer. Not Coors. Coors ages their beer longer than any other major brewer. Almost twice as long. To age any beer longer, it gets smoother. More easy drinking. More like Coors. Nope. Coors won't take shortcuts with time. Coors is the one.
This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television.
If you like potato chips, then you need to know there are some great ones made right here in Tallahassee. Martin's Potato Chips. Talk about tasty. Martin's uses only the finest potatoes, sliced thin as a dime. Then the chips are hand-cooked to ensure even frying. Still warm from the fryer, those chips are quickly packaged and delivered to your favorite grocery store. Hand-cooked, freshly packed, made right here in Tallahassee. Martin's Potato Chips, your hometown chip.
Once in a while, a deal comes along that sounds too good to be true. Well, this time, believe it. It's true. Palmer Harold Buick has 2.9% financing on all 1986 Buicks. 2.9%. Or giant cashback rebates on every Regal, every Century, every Somerset, every Electra. In fact, every 86 Buick on the lot. But it's also true that at these rates, the best selection won't last long. So hurry to Palmer Harold Buick Isuzu, where once again, we make quality affordable.
North Carolina won the toss, but elected to exercise their option in the second half, meaning they'll make their choice then, meaning Florida State chose to receive the ball. Here's the kickoff from Miller. It goes out of bounds, and he'll probably just back it up and kick it again, which will give me an opportunity to set this kickoff return and the kicking situation for you, which could prove to be a factor in this game. Florida State with a little bit of a surprise in terms of who will be returning the kicks here today. We have number 20, Keith Ross, who will be back deep for Florida State. He is a sophomore from Newberry, Florida, and a real speed merchant. He is one of the tailbacks for the Seminoles. And number 13 is a freshman, a true freshman by the name of Dexter Carter from Appling County, Georgia, actually Blakely, Georgia. He's 5'9", 165, a freshman who runs the 100 in 9.8. So we have two sub-100 sprinters back there. And there is Miller, Ken Miller, who's a junior from Phoenix, and he's been placed into the kickoff and long placement kicking situation for North Carolina, where they are struggling. And number 18, Miller, will also be punting today, replacing their excellent punter, Tommy Barnhart, who graduated last year. So that kicking game could be a problem for North Carolina. After the penalty, this one comes down to Ross at the 9. To the 33-yard line. tackle by 15, Victor Bullock. A 25-yard return by Ross. The Seminoles go on offense led by Chip Ferguson, the sophomore from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Sammy Smith, touted highly as a freshman last year, redshirted, and now he could be the key to the Florida State running game. Tanner Holloman starts at fullback. Darren Holloman will be on the outside along with Herb Gaynor. There's the offensive line, and watch for Pat Carter, the tight end, and his blocking assignments against this 8-man front North Carolina defense. Here's the handoff right up the middle on the opening play, and it goes to Sammy Smith, the freshman. And speaking of defense, that is an excellent North Carolina defensive unit. Best player on the front four is Reuben Davis, number 93. You'll be hearing his name called a lot today. One of their better starters is injured and will play only sparingly, Kubi Colombo. He's being replaced by Noel McCahern. Mitch White, Brett Rudolph, and Walter Bailey, called the Ram. He's really a rover back, will be a key player. And Derek Donald had 2 interceptions in the first game. He's their best performing defensive back as of now. Blitz on second down 4. It's picked up. The pass is completed for a first down. To the 48-yard line, Darren Holloman with the reception, tackled by number 4, Norris Davis, the strong safety for the North Carolina Tar Heels. A gain of 9 yards. Tim, this opening series for Florida State will tell them a lot, I'm sure, about their emotional attitude and about whether they can get what's been a little bit of a sputtering offense off to a start.
They've had some real problems in the offensive line, as we mentioned in the open. 7 sacks against Nebraska. They had to go back to 1977 to find a game in which Florida State had incurred that many sacks.
Here's Sammy Smith on the 1st and 10, getting nowhere at the line of scrimmage. Down goes Sammy Smith. Sammy's big, 6'2", 220. Tackled by 29 Bailey and 86 McCahern. There's Denny Crum, the head coach at North Carolina.
Yeah, Dick Crum and just had monumental success as a high school coach in Ohio. 38-2 his last 4 years as a head coach. Came to Miami of Ohio, Miami University, and just was fantastic there. And been at North Carolina now for a number of years, and success continues.
On 2nd down 11, Denny Crum up in Louisville, probably wondering why he missed the game when they said he was coaching. Here's Chip Ferguson going long, looking for Gaynor. It is incomplete. He did not get a foot down at the 24-yard line. Skeet Baldwin covering on the play. You see that good arm on the part of sophomore Chip Ferguson, and Gaynor's the man who can catch the long ones. It's a good name for him, G-A-I-N-E-R.
Beautiful throw by Ferguson. Gaynor working to the outside. Looks like he might have slipped him down inside on that one, Bob, but a close call.
It's 3rd down 11 now. There's Herb Gaynor. He is a junior from Sarasota, 6'2". The other receiver, Darren Holloman, only 5'7". That's Darren in motion, number 24. 3rd and 11. Here comes North Carolina. Ferguson lets it go, but he was hit as he threw it. It goes incomplete, and Florida State stalls at their own 49-yard line, and now they're going to have to punt. And here comes 97 Burton. Watch him.
We got a fine pass rush front. Denny Marson, the defensive coordinator for North Carolina. Really proud of these rascals, and there's Ronnie Burton putting the heat on Chip Ferguson.
Burton's a senior from Richmond. Here's the punt. Lewis Berry, one of the best punters in college football. Gets away a beauty. It is bobbled by Lewis, and he's headed down at the 6-yard line. Eric Lewis bobbled the ball. Oh, let's see if it was Lewis. Yes, he bobbled the 47-yard punt. He had bobbled one against Kansas just a week ago, and North Carolina starts in the hole. Bart Schutz, 98, with the tackle for Florida State. Starting lineup for North Carolina. William Humes, the tailback, will be trading time back there with Derek Fenner. Humes and Fenner out of that tailback offense. Lewis and Streeter, the wide receivers, will be catching the passes from Jonathan Hall. Harris Barton, number 67, the best offensive lineman over at left tackle for the Tar Heels. First down 10 from their own 8-yard line. Handoff up the middle to Brad Lopp, the fullback, 215-pound junior. There's Jonathan Hall, sophomore quarterback from Vienna, Virginia. Let's look at that Florida State defense. Interestingly, the strength of this Florida State University team this year, at least early, Gerald Nichols has been playing very well, and you'll see him a lot. There he is on the right side, now the center of your screen, number 79. Fred Jones was a very close friend of Pablo Lopez, the player who died. His emotions will play a role today. And Martin Mayhew starting in place of the injured Eric Williams. They bobble the snap at the 10. North Carolina fell on the ball. It remains in the possession, I think, of the Tar Heels. Jonathan Hall got on it himself.
Bob, you talked about the kicking game and what an important part it will play in this particular contest. Lewis broke a cardinal rule as you watch a problem with the center quarterback exchange on your screen there. Lewis broke a cardinal rule, fielded the ball on the 5-yard line, and started North Carolina off in the hole here.
3rd down 7 from the 11. Here's Hume with his first carry, number 6. Doesn't get much. North Carolina will have to punt the ball away. That was Greg Newell, number 40, leading the tacklers for Florida State's defensive team. And here in front of the Doak Campbell crowd, this defense is getting a big, rousing round of applause. Deion Sanders will go back to take the punt from Ken Miller. Miller is a converted quarterback, punting, almost had it blocked. Sanders is going to just let that ball bounce, and it gets, interestingly enough, a nice Florida State bounce, but it went out of bounds at the 48, a 38-yard punt. And it's going to be Florida State football. We have 11:05 remaining in the first quarter of play. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
Once there were 3 brothers. They wanted to create Tallahassee's finest restaurant. One brother wanted to offer excellent steaks and the largest salad bar. Another brother wanted to serve the freshest seafood. The third brother wanted gourmet elegance with the widest variety of fine wines. The 3 brothers created Brothers 3. Each got his way. Excellent food, great atmosphere, the finest wines. Brothers 3 open 7 days a week for dinner.
At Brothers 3, we serve the best.
An automobile is a major purchase, so you want to make sure that you get a lot of car for the money. At Braun Motor Car, we have the best German-engineered automobiles designed for performance and handling. Our financing experts work with the top finance and leasing companies to get you the best rates available.
It's all yours.
Hey, thanks.
So you can have the most car for your money.
Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, BMW, Audi, Volkswagen. Yes, you can at Braun Motor Cars.
Florida State, you think of instant offense, and that just didn't start with the Bowden era. FSU has a long tradition of outstanding receivers. Names like Ron Sellers, Fred Biletnikoff, Dennis McKinnon, and Weegee Thompson grace the FSU record books from the early 60s to the present day. The play has already started. This is Ferguson's going to throw. He has 2 new receivers in there. It is incomplete, caught out of bounds. Walter Bailey covering tight end number 85, Pat Carter, will be 2nd down 10 from the 48.
You're going to see Pat Carter here running a pattern. Play action pass, the strong side. Carter drifting out, just really a flare release. Ferguson looking downfield to Lewis. It wasn't there. Carter lost his concentration on the ball. The ball popped up. Still an incomplete pass.
Now both receivers are split wide to the left side here on 2nd down 10. Split backs. Here's number 30, Holloman. Close to the, he broke the tackle. Holloman to the 31-yard line. That's Tanner Holloman, the senior from Tallahassee, who is starting in place of Dane Williams today, who's injured, a 21-yard run.
Holloman is more of a halfback type of fullback, not known as a power runner, as he breaks the tackle of Burmeister and then just leaves a slew of North Carolina players in the dirt before White comes over to make the tackle. And I think, Bob, you can see some of the emotion in this Florida State team.
1st down 10 at the 31-yard line. Pro set formation this time. Ferguson. 4-man rush. 1 safety's after him. That's Norris Davis, number 4. Davis, the strong safety, had cheated up to the line of scrimmage and got back there and got Ferguson. Florida, and he's limping off the field. He's a key player if he's injured. 13-yard loss.
Norris Davis, a solid performer for the last 2 years from North Carolina. They play that Georgia-Maryland style of 4-man front, really an 8-man front. Instead of the rover and the strong safety situation, they really play it with 2 strong safeties.
13-yard loss, 2nd down 22. Florida State back to their own 43, near the 44-yard line. Ferguson takes about a 15-yard drop. He hits Sammy Smith. Great speed. Losing runner inside the 30 to the 29, but he had to go to the 21 for the 1st down. So it'll bring up 3rd down and long yardage, but they get some of that loss back. Mitch White, number 49, the linebacker, with the tackle.
A screen, a draw, any type of trick play, Bob, will take some of the heat off that offensive line. You got to try to do something to slow down that North Carolina front four as they're coming. If they don't, Chip Ferguson's going to be black and blue after this one.
Black and blue after the Nebraska game. Nebraska got Chip Ferguson 7 times. This is 3rd down 9 from the 30. Good protection. It is complete at the 30 to number 30, Tanner Holloman, but not much, if any, yardage. Feggins, number 16, the strong safety, playing in place of Norris Davis, who had injured his ankle, is in there and made the play, and it'll bring up 4th down again. Florida State is in field goal range here as they spot the ball at the 29. It's about a 46-yard attempt from Derek Schmidt. He certainly has a long enough leg to get that.
Rick, Berry, and Schmidt enter the Seminole lineup.
From the right hash mark. Schmidt's 2 out of 3 kicking field goals, and he's hit a 40, between a 40 and 49 earlier. Misses this one wide to the left side. Score remains 0-0, Florida State, North Carolina. 8:18 to go, quarter number 1.
Buick announces the big one. 2.9 annual percentage rate GMAC financing. Now on any new 1986 Buick. Sure, others are offering special financing, but then they're not selling Buicks. 2.9% financing on every new 1986 Buick. Or choose cash back of up to $1,500 depending on model selected. Length of finance contract is limited. Hurry, you've got to see it to believe it.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
We're not a company, but we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge. We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop, to perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach. We'll help you build a career that can reward you for the rest of your life. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Well, it's a lovely day for football or sun tanning here in Tallahassee, Florida. North Carolina ball, 1st and 10 from the 29. Started at the 8 the last time. Better field position for the Tar Heels. Jonathan Hall, number 5, the quarterback. Comes over to the near side. It is completed to number 27, the fullback, Brad Lopp, and Lopp gets it out here near the 40-yard line. Greg Newell with the tackle for Florida State.
That's complete to the 27, Brad Lopp.
Bobby Bowden. What a guy he is. We love doing Florida State games because you get to spend some time with Bobby Bowden.
He probably has the game of football in a better perspective than any other coach I know, and has fun with it. His players have fun playing for him, and he's always entertaining to be around.
1st down 10 from the 40 for the Tar Heels. Scoreless game, 7:45 to go, 1st quarter. Here's number 6, Humes, the tailback. He doesn't get much. He is pulled down by 38, Paul McGowan, a junior linebacker for Florida State from Winter Park. Look at the sidelines of the North Carolina Tar Heels. They are 0-2 versus Florida State University, losing in '83 in the Peach Bowl, 28-3, and last year in Chapel Hill, 20-10. But the Tar Heels led 10-0 at halftime last year. From the 42, 2nd down. Like a possible broken play. It's the option. Hall doesn't get much. Terry Warren with the stop. Outside linebacker, junior from Titusville. Bring up 3rd down, 8 yards.
I'd imagine that North Carolina will show Florida a little bit of option after the Nebraska game. A misdirection option, good blocking up front, but the timing got messed up, and Hall might have had an opportunity to pitch early, couldn't get it off. The thing that has hurt Florida State in the past with regard to the option has been the quarterback keeping the football.
3rd and 9 from the 41. Incomplete. Intended for 25, Eric Streeter. And it'll be a punting situation once again. Only 1 first down picked up there, and now North Carolina turns it over.
You saw Dick Crum looking on there. Standing next to him is a young man named Bobby Elliott. And, of course, his dad coached at Bob's favorite school. My dad is Bump Elliott, coach at Michigan.
It's one of my favorite schools. Here's Deion Sanders at the 8-yard line. Sanders, great speed, great open field runner. There's a penalty flags everywhere. Sanders may be able to take it all the way, but it won't count. Out of bounds at the 10-yard line, but penalty markers back at the 23. I believe there was a clip or an illegal block below the waist on the part of the Florida State University return team. How many great returns have been nullified in the last few years from the penalty markers? And one of the North Carolina players is down. That's Houston. He's one of the tight ends who is down on the field. See the brace on his left leg, and that's the leg he injured. That was an excellent punt of 51 yards from Ken Miller. We said an area of concern for North Carolina, but he really got his strong leg into it that time. They're attending to Houston over on the far sideline, the sophomore from Toledo. He's a big guy, too, 6'6", and an important player in this North Carolina offense.
Now, I've always told you being a kicker is the pits, right?
Yes,
now,
you have.
What they'll tell Miller that time is he out-kicked his coverage. He didn't get enough height on that punt, didn't give his team an opportunity to get down there and cover it. That's too long. Don't kick it that long.
Yeah, flipping on the receiving team on the run back. First down, 1st and 10.
There you saw one clip, the one on the left side of your screen when the video started there just moments ago, and I'm sure that was the call. We're going to take time out here as Florida State will have to move that ball back and start in the hole again. It's scoreless here, 6:09 to go, first quarter. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
Announcing the lowest rates and the highest rebates in Capital Chrysler Plymouth Dodge's history. Buy this new Chrysler Fifth Avenue or Dodge truck at just 2.4%. Drive home this LeBaron GTS Premium with $1,500 cash in your pocket. Your choice, 2.4% or cash back on most 86 and many 87 cars and trucks. But hurry for the largest selection. At this rate, they won't last long. From the dealer you believe in, Capital Chrysler Plymouth Dodge.
All right, you know why you're here. You still can't remember where to go for quality imported car repairs. Now move it. German cars. German cars. Furrin Auto. Furrin Auto. All others. All others. PAC. PAC. Who's got the largest supply of foreign car parts? Furrin Auto. PAC. Who offers professional, high-quality repair service on German cars? Furrin Auto. All others. PAC. I'm proud of you, team.
Florida State ball, first down 10 from their 11, thanks to the clipping penalty on the punt return. Receiver split up the top of your screen. This is Sammy Smith, number 33. Big bruising tailback with great speed. If they ever get this young man in gear, he is going to be a fantastic runner. Purdue, true freshman, Jeff George with 2 touchdown passes and a 14-0 lead over Pittsburgh. That was Tim Foley's version of his fight song. Virginia Tech 10, Syracuse 7 in the second quarter. Syracuse off to a rough start this year. They thought they'd be better than that. Wake Forest leading NC State 10-0. A little bit of a surprise there in the first quarter. Dick Sheridan, the new head coach at Wake Forest from Furman. Furman, by the way, you may recall, tied Georgia Tech last week, that 1AA power. Here's 33 Smith, nowhere. Maybe lost a yard or two. Mitch White, number 49, the linebacker, with his 3rd tackle. And, Tim, as we start looking at this Carolina defense, you look at the sideline right now in Houston, they're working on his knee. As you start looking at that defense, we were talking to Bobby Bowden as how they might want to approach it. It looks like the middle is going to be tough for Florida State to get anything out of it.
It really is, because Reuben Davis was an all-SEC performer on the outside for him last year. They moved him inside. He's put on about 15 or 20 pounds. He's 280. Tim Goad, one of the best interior linemen in the ACC. It's going to be tough for him to run inside, and that's usually where you attack that kind of defense.
Ferguson on 3rd and 4 from the 17, taking it upstairs. Had Philip Bryant, the speed merchant, deep, but he couldn't catch that ball. He was at his own 45, Skeet Baldwin covering. Bryant playing with an injured hand today, but he is the guy that can get deep to loosen up the defense.
He is their best possession receiver. You're going to see two totally different styles of passing offense today. North Carolina is going to throw it to the backs. They didn't throw it to a wide receiver all last week against Kansas. But Florida State, they're going to put some air under the football. As you can see, they've already set several down the way.
Here's a hurried punt on the part of Lewis Berry. It's taken by 35 Eric Starr. Down he goes at the 44, but the field position starting to change here. And now North Carolina at their own 44, a 43-yard punt, 5-yard return. Back in a moment.
Making room to fit into your lifestyle. Turn it on. Enjoy it every little mile.
Remember the great coupes of the past? Compare them to this, the Sabre Coupe from Buick. Shaped for the open road and backed by V6 performance with fuel injection. Buick's full-size front-wheel drive, the Sabre Coupe. The great American coupe is back.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
Who's gonna be at the Silver Bullet tonight?
Give me the news, I can take it. You won, Lou. You won. You won?
Hey, they won! Of course, right for the team!
The Bullets' first win?
Everything. Tell me everything.
It was no contest.
No contest? I love it. Well, what was the score?
Wasn't even close.
Whoa, Franny, a blowout. Oh, you guys are great. Score. Come on, come on.
No contest, Luke.
The other team never showed up.
There's no slowing down with the Silver Bullet tonight.
Coors Light beer.
North Carolina football, first down 10 from their own 45-yard line, and now they have a player in there you're going to want to watch. This guy can really play. His name is Fenner. He is a freshman. He has been a little bit of a discipline problem, nothing serious except he misses some meetings and such, but he's an excellent runner. He wears number 12 and a new fullback, number 40, James Thompson, in there. He gets the carry on the first down play. We're going to go back to Atlanta now for these college football highlights.
Thank you, Bob. Up at West Lafayette, Indiana, freshman Jeff George is putting on a show. 2 touchdown passes in the first quarter. This one 25 yards to Lance Scheib, who has caught both of them. Freshman to a sophomore, and Purdue looking good 14-0. Now let's go back to Tallahassee,
where it is second down 8 from the 47. And off to the fullback, Thompson once again, sophomore from Lumberton, North Carolina. So far, there's been more of a fullback offense than a tailback offense. Oh, my. I bet he's majoring in, what, exterior design? Guy's a former play-by-play broadcaster or television director. Florida State is playing some tough defense. North Carolina 0 for 2 on third down conversions. This is 3rd and 5, just shy of the 50-yard line. Pressure on Hall, avoids it, completes the pass to Thompson, the fullback. To the 25, to the 20, to the 15, and down he goes, and North Carolina threatening here early in this ball game with 3:21 to go in the first quarter. It is scoreless, and North Carolina is there. It was a 35-yard completion and run. Shelton Thompson almost got it.
Mickey Andrews coming with 5 men on the rush. Hall does a nice job, steps up inside. The fullback then comes clear over the middle, Thompson, and now Deion Sanders misses the tackle. Thompson rambles for another 25 yards.
First down 10 at the 15-yard line of the Florida State Seminoles out of that tailback offense. Here's Fenner, number 12. Doesn't get much, maybe half a yard. Fenner is a sophomore. I said a redshirt freshman. He is a sophomore from Oxon Hill, Maryland. 6'4", 225, and a great physical specimen at tailback in that tradition of North Carolina tailbacks.
Exactly. You know, they've had at North Carolina 17 1,000-yard seasons for tailback, as opposed to like Southern California. You always think of them as a great tailback offense. They've only had 16.
Second down 10 from the 15 for the Tar Heels. Threatening. Possible change of play. All on the option. Nowhere. Paul McGowan, number 38, with the stop. It'll be 3rd down 10. Fred Jones, 55, and McGowan, 38, are tough in the middle for Florida State University Seminoles defensive alignment.
Let's take a look at Fred Jones here. He's the second leading tackler on the team last year and a big play guy. Reads it right now, filling to the outside, takes on Pat Crowley, 51, stuffs the play, forces Hall to turn it back upfield. Right now, say hello to Paul McGowan.
5 defensive backs in there for the Seminoles. 3rd down 9 from the 14 for Carolina. Here they come. Hall gets it away. Has a man. Touchdown! Eric Streeter, North Carolina, scoring first in this ball game. And Curtis Thomas, 22, was covering on the play and didn't get his man covered. Eric Streeter, the senior, with a touchdown reception, and just like last year, North Carolina has taken the lead in this ball game. A 14-yard TD pass, Hall to Streeter. So Florida State came out looking like they were going to dominate early offensively, moving the ball, but then stuttered and stammered, an exchange of punts, and then the big gainer on the pass to the fullback, James Thompson, set up the 3rd down touchdown pass. Here's Lee Gliarmas for the point after. It is good. And with 1:43 to go in quarter number 1, North Carolina 7, Florida State nothing.
Dick Crum's got to be proud of his offensive line here. Here they come. You can see McGowan taking off. Harp 58 heading in there. Freddie Jones. A nice job of protection by North Carolina. Makes it tough on Curtis Thomas. There's only so long you can stay with a receiver, and that was too long for Curtis Thomas.
Well, Eric Streeter is their senior leader in terms of the receiving corps at North Carolina. He's the guy they always look to when they try to go down to that area.
We get to see it again here from our end zone camera. Good shot. You see those linebackers coming up the gut there. Thompson steps up, takes on Jones, and now Streeter's putting the move on Curtis Thomas. Breaks back to the outside, had him turned around. Good move, Eric Streeter.
His second touchdown reception of this young football season. Minute 43 to go in the first quarter. It's a little bit surprising to me, Tim Foley. By the way, I want to mention here before I forget it that the officials in this ball game are from the Atlantic Coast Conference. They are ACC officials under an agreement between the ACC and Florida State that they will swap. Last year, Southern Independent officials officiated the game up in Chapel Hill, and there's Eric Streeter, senior from Silva, North Carolina, the mountain country.
You know, the thing that Mickey Andrews talked about was just having to stick with North Carolina. They're the type of team that can lull you to sleep. They'll run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, then come with a play pass or a big play that can hurt you. Florida State played well against Nebraska for 3 quarters not last week, week before last, but it was a couple of big plays that broke their back.
Keith Ross at the 9. Good return again across the 30 to the 31-yard line, tripped up by Dan Kulatich, a defensive back, special teams player, and Chip Ferguson goes back in there for FSU. 3 out of 7 for only 24 yards throwing the ball. The Tar Heels scoring drive, 55 yards, 14-yard reception for the touchdown, but the big one was the 35 yards and the run when fullback Thompson caught the pass. James, sophomore from Lumberton. From the 31, first down 10, Seminoles trailing 7-0. Minute 36 to go, first quarter. Ferguson goes down. The offensive line problems continue to be a problem for Florida State. That's the second sack of the day. Ron Burton, the man, number 97.
For North Carolina.
On this particular play, Ferguson is looking for the tight end, Pat Carter. You see him looking over the middle. Carter trying to come around behind that linebacker. Burton beats Henley for the sack.
And we might point out again that that strong tackle position is the one that was manned by the late Pablo Lopez. And Jim Henley, who had been playing at center, moved over there because of his athletic abilities. Tim Hebron might also try to fill that spot. Sammy Smith back to the 33-yard line. It was 3rd and 17. It'll bring up about 3rd and 7 or so for Florida State University. And this Seminole offense, Bobby Bowden wasn't kidding us and wasn't whistling past midnight when he was telling us that he's got problems on offense.
And it's in the place where it probably takes the most time to develop.
That's Houston, the tight end from North Carolina, who had hurt his knee. 3rd down 8 from the 33. Ferguson moving around in the pocket, has a man open. It's Holloman, first down at the 40, 35, out of bounds, inside the 30. Darren Holloman, the water bug, 5'7" junior from Tallahassee. And Chip Ferguson gets him with a 38-yard pass on 3rd and 8.
This time the Florida State offensive line gives Chip Ferguson time to wait for his receiver to come open. Fake it to Sammy Smith, try to suck the linebackers up a little bit, but basically they had Norris Davis trying to run with Darren Holloman. Holloman left him in the dirt. The big gainer.
And a quick opener there to Tanner Holloman. Brett Rudolph with the stop, number 54, the best linebacker for North Carolina. And Florida State trailing 7-0 coming back now. They got about 5 yards on that quick opener.
Darren Holloman is one of the quickest players I've ever seen. We had an opportunity to see them a few times last year, and it's just an exceptional athlete with the ball in his hands.
That's the end of the first quarter with North Carolina leading 7-0. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
You've waited all year long for a sale like this. It's the fantastic Ford Finale at your Florida and South Georgia Ford dealers. It's now or never. 15,000 cars and trucks must be sold to make room for the 87s. There will be millions of dollars in discounts, plus low 2.9% financing or up to $1,000 cash back. But you must act now for huge savings during the fantastic Ford finale at your Florida and South Georgia Ford dealer.
Steve Pajek for governor. Endorsed by 2/3 of our leading newspapers, by over half of our Democratic legislators, by the statewide organizations of thousands of environmentalists, 10,000 firefighters, 29,000 police officers, and 46,000 teachers. Florida, you've found another leader. Steve Pajek for governor.
Quality, it's today's Buick. Beginning of the second quarter, North Carolina leading 7-0. Seminoles on the move here. On the second down 6. This is Sammy Smith. Short of the first down by a couple of yards to about the 22-yard line. This is the first start for Sammy Smith. He's had some terrific games, but he has never started before. Redshirt freshman. He has to play well for Florida State to be able to keep things loose in there, and he's going to have to play well individually some, because they still are trying to find something to happen right with that offensive line.
I think that's right, Bob. He's going to have to be able to break some tackles to cause some things to happen on his own.
3rd and 4 from the 22-yard line. Penalty markers down. Haven't been many so far in this ball game. The referee, the man in the white hat, is Donald Safret, who will be explaining the situation to us. Illegal procedure, Florida State. It was 3rd down 4. This will make it 3rd and 9. Move the ball back to the 27.
If you don't have a solid offensive line, it's a lot easier to develop a passing attack than it is a running attack. So it puts a lot more burden on the running back to break some tackles, get some yardage on his own, and make things happen on his own. Florida State, I think, has got a problem throwing the ball simply because their receiver corps is really banged up. It's really black and blue, and that just adds to the other situations that they have to deal with.
Carter's going to throw on 3rd and 9 now. Goes to Sammy Smith out of the backfield, but North Carolina's there. Very well-coached, disciplined North Carolina team. Reuben Davis, number 93, with the tackle. It'll bring up 4th down, and we're going to have another field goal attempt here on the part of Florida State. They'll spot the ball at the 27, making it a 44 to 45-yard attempt from Derek Schmidt. He's 2 out of 4 on the season now. Derek Schmidt is in range of becoming Florida State's all-time leading scorer if he has a good season. Let's see if this one's going to make it. He's not off to a very good start. He doesn't hit that one either. He's 0 for 2 today on field goal attempts, and it remains North Carolina 7, Florida State nothing, with 13:34 to go in the first half of play from Doak Campbell Stadium on the campus of Florida State University in Tallahassee.
We're not a company, but we recognize potential. We develop it. We use it. We'll make sure that as your responsibility grows, so will you. As your ability for leadership grows, so will you. Working with us, you'll gain self-confidence, become a person with a future. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Marines, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Buick announces the big one. 2.9 annual percentage rate GMAC financing. Now on any new 1986 Buick. Sure, others are offering special financing, but then they're not selling Buicks. 2.9% financing on every new 1986 Buick. Or choose cash back of up to $1,500 depending on model selected. Length of finance contract is limited. Hurry, you've got to see it to believe it.
Wouldn't you really rather have a Buick?
The greatest name in Carolina football history, and one of the greatest in Southern football, is Charlie Choo Choo Justice, but they're playing on the field. We'll give you history lessons a little later in the ball game. Here's the handoff to number 12, Derek Fenner. He's stopped at the 28-yard line. North Carolina leading 7-0.
Last year they had a load of inexperience in the Seminole secondary. This year they came back with 2 excellent interior linebackers and 4 experienced defensive backs, and their defensive line is new and trying to grow.
12 Fenner, 40 Thompson in the backfield for Carolina. Second down, 9 from the 29. Here is Fenner. Close to a first down, may have it out near the 49-yard line. Derek Fenner missed the game against Kansas because he had missed a couple of meetings and then missed the team plane, and he was disciplined, didn't get to make the trip. And Humes ran all the way, but this is the runner of the future for North Carolina, Derek Fenner, the sophomore. What a specimen. 6'4", 225. He and Sammy Smith, tailback for Florida State, are not dissimilar athletes. Fenner, number 12 again. Stopped right at the line of scrimmage after getting the first down on the other one. Back to Atlanta now for this college football update.
Thank you very much, Bob. Kevin Slayton here in the studio, and Pitt is on the comeback trail at Purdue. It's now 14-7. Purdue, Pitt scoring on a 4th and goal. Craig Hayward going in from a yard out. Virginia Tech leads winless Syracuse 13-10. That game is in the second quarter. And Wake Forest has just scored again. They now lead North Carolina State 17-0. That game is a first quarter score. Now let's go back to Tallahassee.
Second down, 9, play underway here. This is number 12, Fenner. He falls down. On the second down long, it'll bring up third down long, and North Carolina with a conversion situation. Massive wholesale defensive changes going on for Florida State now as they prepare to play against this passing situation.
I was talking to Mickey Andrews about that as you look at Dick Crum sending in the play. Mickey Andrews likes to use situation defense, likes to get a lot of people in the football game, feels like it keeps them in the game more, keeps them better prepared. We'll talk about that in a minute.
87 Smith, 23 Marriott, the wide receivers for the Carolina Tar Heels on 3rd and 8 from their own 41. Good protection, swings it out of the backfield to Fenner. Fenner is close to the first down, I think short. I believe he's going to be about a yard short. 58 Thomas Harp with the tackle. It'll depend on the mark of the ball, but I think he did not make it, and that is a fact. And in comes the punting unit. So Florida State's defense gives up 7 3/4 yards, but that's all they needed to hold them to. It was 4th down, 3rd down and 8.
Excellent upfield play by Paul McGowan on that screen. Recklessly threw his body in front of a couple offensive linemen.
Another boomer from Miller. Going to go out of bounds. What a great punt. Did it go out of bounds or into the end zone? It went, according to the official, in the end zone, but the one on the side says the 3. And that's the official who's going to make the call. And it will be 1st and 10 Florida State from their own 3-yard line. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
I always wanted to be like my father, you know, order me a dry martini.
I saw that there was an image behind drinking, and people that drank, that they looked older and sophisticated. I was 11 when I lost my virginity to a guy. I was 17, and I was drunk.
Drinking had taken me so far down, I had to get out of my house.
Sometimes I'd sleep in the woods. If I didn't sleep in the woods, I slept on the corner. If I didn't sleep on the corner, I slept at someone's house who I didn't even know.
I had wound up in a lot of trouble with the law. I had wound up in jail.
When I was drinking, you know, I was with a lot of guys, and a lot of guys used me.
You know, I hurt my parents dearly. You know, and I knew at the time I was doing it, but I didn't care, just as long as I got high.
I was so miserable. I hated myself. Every time I looked in the mirror, I wanted to cry.
Hey, yo, alcohol is a drug, man, and you can get hooked on it. And the younger you start, the more damage you can do. Word. Just no experience for no kids my age or anyone younger.
If you want to be somebody, have a family, have a future, just say no.
Say no and say yes to your life.
It's been nearly a year since last year's hurricane season devastated the Apalachicola Bay Area. We'll bring you up to date on one area's road to recovery. Join me, Mike Fabrizio, and David Neal tonight at 11 on Newsite 27.
Whether Kenny Miller was going to do a good job punting today. Well, he did a great job. A 49-yard punt that went possibly not out of bounds, as we see on the replay. It was marked out of bounds at the 3. What do you think?
Yes, it was, and the official was right on it. I'd have to say that it was probably out of bounds, regardless of what it looks like from the upper deck
and
up
if
here.
if the ball hit any part of the white line, the white is out of bounds. So it could have been out of bounds. Probably was. At any rate, Florida State's ball, 1st down 10 at their own 3. Floyd and Palmer in the backfield. They hand it to big David Palmer, junior from Tallahassee, number 48, who's just going to try to ram it out of there. He doesn't get much. Out across the 3, about a half a yard, maybe.
Always an interesting place to play defense here. In one sense, you're thinking goal line because you don't want them to get a first down. You want to force them to punt from deep in their own territory. In the other sense, you got to really be careful because this is home run territory. It's a swing from your heels territory. So as a defensive back, you really got to give them some room.
Holloman and Gaynor lined up on the top of your screen. Holloman goes in motion. They're just going to run it again. Nothing going this time. Victor Floyd, 27. Back at tailback goes down. Kubi Colombo with the tackle. He's number 95, playing a little hurt today for North Carolina. There's Dick Crum. Kubi Colombo from Zaire. He's listed, his hometown is listed as earned in Virginia. His father's a diplomat in the Washington area. He's only played football for just a few years. He's, matter of fact, I think it's 3. Played 1 year before college.
And look at Dick Crum. That's interesting. Now, he gives Denny Marson, the defensive coordinator, a lot of room. And Denny calls all the defensive signals. And, of course, Dick Crum built a lot of his success on defense.
On the 3rd down, here is a freshman, Reno Fells. Doesn't get much. He gets out to the 8-yard line. Fells is a redshirt freshman from Palatka. Baldwin and Burmeister with a stop, and Florida State will have to punt it.
Reno Fells, the ball carrier for the Seminoles.
Here's 95, Kubi Colombo. He's injured.
Stop for North Carolina.
And he has made some dramatic progress as he tries to chase down Fells there. He made some dramatic progress during the spring in replacing Reuben Davis, which really encouraged the Davis move to interior lineman as opposed to defensive end.
Out of the end zone, Berry. They're trying to block it. He got it away. Good punt, too. Starr. 41. Good coverage. Star's down at the 45-yard line. Pretty good job of getting the ball out of their end zone by Berry and the Florida State University punting team. The tackles were made by 53 Odell Haggins and 21 John Hadley. They almost blocked this one.
Of course, it's Florida State over the last several years that has developed the reputation for blocking punts. This time North Carolina coming after him, and they do an excellent job of not running into the punter. That was Chuck Sledge. Oftentimes, a young man will hit the punter after an effort like that. Good job by Sledge.
First down, 10 Carolina at the 45-yard line of the Tar Heels. They lead 7-0. We're in the 2nd quarter. Jonathan Hall to throw. Good protection. Oh, what a hit. Derek Finner didn't get a hold of it, but Shiver, number 37, has I think Shiver has a good name because he will put a shiver in you when he hits you. 37.
They call him, he's one of those helmet rattlers. They call him the Georgia Cracker. And, because his affinity for disrupting the direction of people with the football.
2nd down, 10 from the 45-yard line. 8:32 to go, 2nd quarter. Bob Neal, Tim Foley with you. Hope you're enjoying Florida State, North Carolina from Tallahassee. Hall has his man right at the first down stick. Eric Streeter, the receiver. I believe he got past it close enough for the first down. They'll spot the ball out there. North Carolina has had possession of the ball longer than Florida State here in the first half. The Seminole defense out there a long time, and it's going to be hot here today, the upper 80s.
One of the things that concerned Andrews was the fact that against Nebraska, they didn't substitute enough, and he felt like their football team was worn out in the 3rd quarter and in the 4th quarter, and that led to some of the breakdowns. And today he made a commitment to getting people in there faster. And we talked about that situation defense, Bob, as they did not make the first down. It's going to be 3rd in inches. Talked about where that developed. Who started using that substitution defense? And he felt that Bear Bryant was the first one to really wholesale substitute. And he used that as a recruiting tool. It was unfortunate if a young man came to a university, if he wasn't a starter, he just didn't play much at all. And now there'll be, well, for example, North Carolina's got 13 people on their defense with 10 tackles or more. They're playing a lot of folks.
So it's 3rd down inches. You saw the mark of the ball, just the nose of the ball away from a first down. Our formation. They give it to the tailback. Finner gets the first down inside the 45 to the 43-yard line, and North Carolina keeps its drive alive. Gerald Nichols with the tackle, number 79.
You know, Dick Crum was first known as a defensive coordinator at Miami University. He was a defensive coordinator for 4 years, and they were in the top 6 of the nation in defense all 4 years. First 1 year. And
1st and 10 from the 44. Not much this time, just a couple to the fullback, 27, Brad Lopp, tackled by the nose guard, Thomas Harp, number 58 for the Seminoles.
And it's interesting how a defensive coach, when he becomes a head coach, will drift to the offense, will be more interested in the offense. Now, Bobby Bowden, on the other hand, has always been offensively oriented, always been a fireworks type of coach.
Second down, 8 from the 42. Carolina leading 7-0. Bobby Bowden worried about his team's performance today after the tragedy last week. Here's Fenner. Breaking tackles, gets inside the 30 to the 28-yard line. Greg Newell, number 40, with the stop. This Florida State defensive team gave up 13 on that, and they are playing without much spark today so far in this game.
Here's the kind of running that you expect to see from a back that's touted, as Fenner has been touted. Great block there by Harris Barton, who's probably the best lineman in the ACC, and Fenner is breaking tackles.
First and 10 from the 29-yard line. Jonathan Hall, play fake, rolling and throwing. It is incomplete, intended for Lopp at the 28. He took a pop from our Tim Foley of Florida State's defensive backfield, Stanley Shiver. Shiver is ever looming back there, and Hall goes to 5 out of 8 for 77 yards now early in this game in the passing statistical department. Brings up second down 10 from the 29. Hall has had excellent protection, but he has some mobility. Hall can move around. He's not a running quarterback, but he can roll out, as you just saw. That buys him some time. Good protection again. Almost picked off by number 46, Felton Hayes. Had it in his hands. It was intended for 82, Dave Truitt, the tight end. Brings up third down 10.
Jonathan Hall is your athletic type quarterback, as opposed to the drop back style of his backup, Mark May. Little play action pass, got a receiver down deep in the corner. Florida State took that away. Hall read it back to the short receiver, the tight end, and Hayes makes a nice play on the ball, takes it out of the air.
Third and 10 from the 29-yard line. Big defensive play here on the part of the Florida State Seminoles, and the officials down there with a moment of time for Harp to make some adjustments there. 58, Harp is the nose guard. He's ready. Ball is ready. Four-man rush. Incomplete. Missed his receiver. Now, they're wanting a penalty marker, but none is thrown. I don't think none deserved. McGowan covering Fenner. It'll be fourth down.
Interesting, because there was no question about it. McGowan was locked up with Fenner when the ball went by. And what happens is the linebacker starts to look right at the back. As the back tries to work inside, he jams him. And if the ball's thrown in that time, technically you're talking about pass interference.
Here's Miller with a field goal attempt from the 35. It's a 45-yard attempt. It's a fake, but Mark May goes down. The holder is nailed at the 43. Florida State University defensive team well schooled on such trickery, and they were there on Mark May. Felton Hayes with the tackle. Big play for the Seminoles defensively.
The ball goes down. Mark May never really had an opportunity to set up. They're in his face. Hayes, before he had a chance to get it off, and it had a chance, Bob. It had a chance. They had a receiver downfield. Deion Sanders was running with him, but it looked like it had an opportunity to make it to happen.
John Parks was also in on that tackle back there along with Hayes. 19 for Florida State. It's first down 10. Seminoles now good field position at the 42.5-yard line of Florida State. A play fake, almost picked off. They wanted to throw it to Darren Holloman. We're going to Atlanta for this college football update.
Thank you, Bob. Kevin Slayton here in our studios. Jeff George, we told you earlier, 2 touchdown passes, but Pitt has come back to take the lead. They intercepted George, then he fumbled. Pitt just got a field goal of 47 yards from Jeff Van Horn. They lead by 3. Back to Tallahassee.
It'll be second down 10 from the 42-yard line now. Seminoles trailing 7-0, 6:30 to go, first half. Ferguson overthrows Holloman by a lot. Down at the 45-yard line, and Ferguson not sharp today either. Chip Ferguson is 5 out of 11 passing the football.
This Florida State style of offense, Bob, requires a lot of specific skill in terms of throwing the ball down the field. Often you'll see where a quarterback was 20 out of 30, but the wide receivers have only caught 4 or 5 balls. They throw the ball down the field. His percentage won't be as high, but he'll come up with more big plays.
On 3rd and 10, 2 new receivers in, 7 Lewis and 9 Philip Bryant. Ferguson steps into the pocket. Has a man wide open. It's Bryant. Out of bounds at the 33-yard line of North Carolina. Philip Bryant, the sophomore from Bainbridge, Georgia, with the reception. And Ferguson was on the mark that time for a 25-yard gainer.
And he's got the big arm. He displays it here. He's a confident young man and not the type of man to lose his poise. Steps up into the pocket and pow! He sees Philip Bryant breaking into the open and drills the ball downfield. Nice catch by Bryant.
Recovering from a broken finger. Didn't seem to have any problem holding onto the ball that time. First down 10 at the 33 now. Ferguson to go to the air again. Under pressure. Down he goes. Fumbles the ball. It's going to belong to North Carolina unless the whistle sounded, and I think it did not. It is Tar Heel football at the 43. That is the 3rd sack given up here in the first half. The man with the ball, Norris Davis, number 4. And there were 7 sacks allowed by the Florida State offensive team against Nebraska. They've given up 3 here to North Carolina. Back in a moment.
The American family. It's changed a lot. And now, so is the American family car. The front-wheel drive LeSabre sedan from Buick. Sleek and sophisticated, powered by a fuel-injected V6 engine. And though it may not look like a traditional family car, LeSabre offers full room and comfort for 6. LeSabre sedan, the American family car that's changed as much as you have.
Stolen bases, pennant races, stand right up and cheer. Now you're talking baseball. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is smoking here.
Stroh's, fire brewed for smooth, consistent taste.
Now you're talking Stroh's. Now you're talking beer. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is smoking here.
Let's take a look at that sack and fumble again.
Obviously, one of the goals of the defense is to take the ball away from the offense. Excellent job. Norris Davis taking it away from him.
He almost took it and ran with it on that play. A fumble in the back, not a fumble, but a bobble in the backfield, and down goes William Humes at the 38-yard line for Carolina. Both teams sputtering a little bit. Only the 14-yard touchdown pass from Hall to Streeter has been the only scoring play in this game with 5:50 to go here in the first half. Carolina led 10-0 at halftime last year.
And both these teams are come-from-behind style teams. You know, they reflect the character of their coach. They're both teams that fight well from behind.
Second down 13 from the 39-yard line. Here's a pitch to Humes. Hit behind the line. One of the linebackers or defensive backs knifed in there. I think it was linebacker John Efert, 52, who made the play. Shot in the backfield. Big defensive play again for the Seminoles. And this Seminole defensive team coming up with the key big plays, even though, Tim, they still do look a little flat to me, relative to the enthusiasm with which they normally play.
You're right, Bob. And once again, the wholesale substitution. They got their pass defense in there, those pass rush folks, and 5 defensive backs.
Third down 13, Carolina. Here comes the blitz. And Hall is going to get away. His mobility helps him. It's picked off. That's Deion Sanders. What a broken field runner he is to the 40-yard line. Florida State football. And the tackle was made by Jonathan Hall, the quarterback.
One of the things that Mickey Andrews was stressing with his charges was turnovers. You see Fred Jones chases Hall out of the pocket, desperately trying to get to him. Hall tries to get it up over the top of Deion Sanders, but Sanders goes up and makes the great catch, and he's probably the best athlete on the field, Deion Sanders. Look at him move now.
And you saw him step out of bounds at the point of the reception, so they spot it at the 48.5-yard line, back up field. First down 10 Seminoles from their own, from the Tar Heel 48-yard line. There's Deion. He was drafted by Kansas City Royals in Major League Baseball. Here's Holloman to the 45-yard line. This is Tanner Holloman, the senior, who is the brother of junior Darren Holloman, in case you notice the similarity of names. They are both from Tallahassee.
Mitch White makes the initial stop for North Carolina.
Bob Neal, Tim Foley with you from Doak Campbell Stadium. Interceptions helped Florida State come from behind to defeat North Carolina 20-10 last year, despite trailing 10-0 at halftime. It's 2nd down 7 from the 45. Here comes Sammy Smith. He has the speed to turn the corner and the power to get the first down. He goes out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Davis and Donald on the stops for North Carolina.
Sammy Smith had a great run last game against Nebraska on a fake reverse. And that's one thing that we haven't seen from Florida State yet, a reverse, which we'll see before it's over. Sammy doesn't look as yet as though he's really running with a lot of confidence. You know, it seems like he's concentrating on some of the basic skills, but not really accelerating at the point of attack.
Receivers, 7 Ronald Lewis, a true freshman, and 9 Philip Bryan in there for the Seminoles on 1st and 10 from the 37. Ferguson, his 4th sack of the day, back to the 45. He had an opportunity to release the ball, but decided not to throw, reading the coverage on his receivers. And once again, protection of the quarterback becoming a big problem. 97, Ron Burton, with his 2nd of the 4 North Carolina sacks on this day.
Okay, that's one you cannot fault the offensive line for. Chip had enough time to get the ball away. What you do is you give a gold star to the coverage unit for North Carolina, and everybody covered. Ferguson just had to eat it. As he develops some experience, though, he'll throw those balls away, get them out of bounds, and not take the loss.
Ferguson, a sophomore, 2nd down, 18. And here's Sammy Smith. Needs a block to get outside. He got it. Needs another one. Got it and fell down. As he was cutting back upfield, Sammy Smith had nothing but green grass in front of him, and he goes down cutting against the grain, but he got back the loss from the sack. Really good block there by Jason Kuipers on Norris Davis. One of the Tar Heel players is down. It's number 45, Antonio Goss. They're checking him out down there about the 32-yard line. Here's the situation in this football game. We have 3 minutes, 4 seconds to go until halftime. North Carolina leads 7-0 on a 14-yard touchdown pass from Jonathan Hall to Eric Streeter. And other than that, it's been turnovers and missed opportunities for both football teams. There's Bobby talking to Chip Ferguson right now.
And
we're just about 3 minutes away from halftime in terms of the time left in this first half. Florida State University's marching band will perform, one of the very best in the country. You'll really enjoy their performance. We'll have college football scores and highlights and an update of the Pittsburgh at Purdue football game. There's Eric Schmidt, who may have another opportunity to go for a field goal. He's 0 for 2 today and in a slump. He's been one of the best kickers in the country. You see the back of his helmet, it says Lowe. That is in memory of their teammate who died a week ago, Pablo Lopez, the offensive tackle. Seminole ball, 3rd down 9 at the 36-yard line. They've attended to the injured player. We'll update you on the situation with Goss. Florida State only 2 out of 8 on these 3rd down situations. Darren Holloman in motion. Deep drop by Ferguson. Hits Smith. Can't hold on to it. Incomplete. It'd be somewhere around a 57-yard field goal attempt here, and with Eric Schmidt's problems kicking the ball, I don't know if we're going to see him or not at this opportunity. We're not Lewis Berry will punt. Schmidt 0 for 2. He's got a leg to get 57 yards, but the way he's been hitting it, I guess Bobby Bowden does not have the confidence in that happening right now. Now Berry, by the way, who is a relative of the great punter for the Atlanta Falcons for so many years, John James, is great at getting that ball down inside the 20. Let's see if he does it here. They call him a pooch kick if it bites like a 9-iron, but this one's not going to do it. That isn't how he wanted to hit it. All of us who hit a 9-iron understand that. On the far side of the green into the creek. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
We have to get up early in the morning at Braun Motor Car Company. because we make 100% customer satisfaction our goal all day long. Braun Motor Car Company, Mercedes-Benz, Porsche, BMW, Audi, Volkswagen.
When you hear the name Goodyear, some people think big. But not everyone needs a tire like this. Sure, Rainey Cawthons and Tallahassee Tire are the largest Goodyear tire distributor in the tri-state area. But our service is personal and geared to the individual. We have the largest selection of tires, and because we are a volume dealer, that means low prices to you. Remember, you've got friends in the business at Tallahassee Tire, North Monroe, South Monroe, West Tennessee, and Appalachie Parkway.
The greatest name in Carolina football history, one of the greatest in Southern football, is Charlie Choo-Choo Justice. He had a big impact on football. He led the Tar Heels to 3 major bowl games during his 4 years at Chapel Hill. Charlie Justice. 2 minutes, 33 seconds to go in the second quarter. It'll be first down 10 Tar Heels from their own 20-yard line following Lewis Berry's punt into the end zone. Carolina leads 7-0. Jonathan Hall, 5 out of 10 for 76 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. Pitches to his fullback, Lopp. And Brad Lopp is brought down about the 23-yard line by Felton Hayes, number 46.
And the defensive line coach of Florida State, Chuck Amato, the linebacker, Wally Burnham, really have to be satisfied and pleased with the way that FSU is playing the run. North Carolina came into this game averaging almost 6 yards a carry. Right now, after 19 carries, they've amassed 27 yards. That's an excellent display of power up front.
Fenner continues to be the tailback, number 12, Derek Fenner. Lopp is the fullback. To about the 25 goes number 12, Fenner. Gerald Nichols with his 4th tackle of the afternoon. Nichols playing very well, number 79, defensive front for Florida State. Minute 48 to go here in the first half. Florida State with a timeout down here to stop the clock because they realize it's 3rd and 7, and Seminoles could have the ball in decent field position, an opportunity to try to put something up on the board before halftime. Tonight, we hope you'll join us for Super Football Saturday coverage continuation. It'll be at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, Nebraska playing against Illinois.
Dick Crum has given Bobby Bowden a little bit different look than he expected. On first down, North Carolina, who usually sat in that 8-man front with a 3 deep look, and you can attack it with some quick passing, has given them more of a standard 5-2 look. They've widened Bailey, they've widened Morris Davis, and they're giving him more of a conventional coverage with a double zone that takes away some of that quick passing. So at halftime, I'm sure that Bowden will get together with Wayne McDuffie, who's up here in the booth calling the plays for FSU, and they'll talk over some other options.
There's that FSU defensive team, and they have their options on their hands now with a 3rd down 4 situation from the 26-yard line. It'll be 3rd down 4. Fred Jones is the man who calls the defensive signals, number 55, very close friend of Pablo Lopez, and has had a very rough, emotional week, as have all these players, but they say the impact was probably greatest on Fred Jones. On 3rd and 4. Hall, plenty of time, good protection, but now he can't find anybody. Throwing as he's hit, almost picked off by Jones at the 23, but the ball was out of bounds, incomplete. And with 1:41 to go in the first half, it'll be another opportunity for Florida State to get their hands on the ball.
Fred Jones moving laterally as Jonathan Hall comes to the outside. Chucks Fenner out of bounds, turns to make the catch, drops the football.
And as he would tell you, he should have had it.
It's tough. It's rarely that the linebackers, they'll do this in drills every once in a while, but you get so excited, and as you saw the double clutch grab, bango, it hits the ground.
Here's Miller, who's done a great job punting so far. That's away another pretty good punt here. Deion Sanders at the 30, 35, and 40. And 43, so that's about a 13-yard return on a 44-yard punt by Deion Sanders. Number 29, Walter Bailey, with the tackle. Minute 31 remaining in the half. Here's some scores from college football. Virginia Tech leading Syracuse 16-0. That's at the half. Wake Forest out in front of NC State 17-7. Second quarter score. Houston over Oklahoma State in the second period 7-0. And Michigan struggling early. I wouldn't call it early. We don't know exactly what time it is, leading 7-3. And Maryland is leading West Virginia 7-0 in the first period. And now, Newpa, we were talking about scores. We've had changes in our game here. We'll try to keep covering this game for you the best we can. Peter Tom Willis, the new quarterback. He throws out here to number 20, Keith Ross, and Ross gets to the 44-yard line. Peter Tom Willis, a freshman, a redshirt freshman from Morris, Alabama, is a player that Bobby Bowden likes a lot, and he told us that if Chip Ferguson continued to struggle, we might see Peter Tom Willis in this football game. He had wanted to redshirt him. He avoids the sack but fumbles the ball, and down he goes at the 39. This intensive rush on the part of the Tar Heels. It was Kubi Colombo, 95, with the good quarterback pressure on the freshman quarterback.
Willis has the big arm, like Ferguson, and Bobby feels like he's going to need 2 quarterbacks to get through this year. He's concerned a little bit about Danny McManus, who was doing a fine job leading his football team last year, but then had the problem with dizzy spells, and he's concerned that he hasn't had any contact, and he's really been out of action for almost a year now, and he wanted to see what Peter Tom Willis could do under the real gun.
Peter Tom's a big guy, 6'3", 195 pounds, and he and Ferguson came there at the same time to Florida State. And it's interesting, Bobby Bowden has himself really kind of a difficult question there as to how long to stay with Ferguson, who to develop, which one to look at the longest, and quarterback is obviously a key in a team that passes the ball like this. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether Peter Tom, I love the name, it's a good Alabama name, and one that Bobby Bowden only kiddingly said, well, you know, he's from my home state, and he's got a great name. That didn't hurt him any in my eyes. Reno Fells, Keith Ross, the running backs now. 20, Keith Ross, 42, Reno Fells. It is 3rd down 8 from the 45. It was more than 3rd down 8, excuse me. Obviously, after the fumble, it was about 3rd down 14. The scoreboard a little slow catching up to that one. And Florida State is not going to get anything done that time. They'll have a 4th down, though, with 41-40 and the clock counting.
One thing I think that's important, if a quarterback's not got it going, and there can be a lot of reasons, receivers aren't getting open, not enough time to throw the football, but if he's losing the feel of the game, if he's losing control a little bit, it's good to get him out for a series, talk to him, get him on the sideline, get somebody else in there. I think you saw a perfect example last year in the Super Bowl when Tony Eason really lost control after about the 2nd possession, and I'm not saying that Grogan could have done a better job earlier, but it was apparent that he had lost his confidence. Now, Ferguson's a young player and very, very resilient, according to Bowden. As you look at Denny Harsin, there's the defensive coordinator. You can tell the defensive guys, because the offensive guys are always the good-looking ones. And Denny will forgive me, but just a lot of fun. He was out here walking off how far the numbers were from the sideline. They cover all the bases before the game.
Had his hat turned around backwards there, and he's ready to go out there and play in a heartbeat. North Carolina will be coming after this punt attempt by Lewis Berry with all 10 guys. Berry gets it away, and he hits a cannon shot. It's going to hit down and roll into the end zone. So you got a lot of distance, but it'll come out to the 20. And North Carolina is going to have 18 seconds to try to get something underway, as you see Dick Crum meeting with his coaches over there on the sideline. Dick Crum looks as though maybe he's a little bit ill, as a matter of fact. That's the head coach at North Carolina. It's very hot here. And when you see him without his earphones on, you know he's not feeling well. So Dick Crum on the sideline, we'll certainly get that updated to you. Looks as though he's not feeling well, and the attendants are with him right now. Yeah, it looks as though maybe he's not ill, but injured. Looks like he hurt his knee. Sitting down, and they're applying a wrapping to the knee of Dick Crum. Here's a pitch to Lopp, the fullback for North Carolina, as the clock ticks down, and at this point on the field, they're probably ready to run down. There you see the attention being placed to Dick Crum there.
He might have got caught on the sidelines when they pushed Fenner out of bounds.
Yeah, he may have been hit by a player.
That's the end of the first half.
Injured coach. Not something to chuckle about. You might want to chuckle about it later if it's not serious, but you see the players there with a smile on his face. So let's hope that he's smiling because Dick Crum isn't injured seriously. But head coach of North Carolina with a sore right leg, and it's halftime. North Carolina leading 7-0.
We're not a company, But outstanding people come to us every day. People who want to make a contribution to a team and do work that really counts. People eager to see new places, do the unusual, and find the unusual. People who become your friends for life. People just like you. We're not a company. We're your country. We're the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Army. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
Which cereal has more vitamin nutrition than any other? Kellogg's Product 19 cereal. But you'd never guess.
Oh?
Because Product 19 vitamins are flaky, bumpy, crispy, crunchy.
And taste so good.
100% of 12 vitamins and minerals, all in these tasty flakes.
Delicious.
Kellogg's Product 19.
Flaky.
Bumpy.
Crispy. Crunchy.
Tasty vitamins.
Sunny days, catching rays, enjoy it while it's here. Now you're talking summer, now you're talking beer, now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is fucking beer.
Stroh Light. Smooth, refreshing, less filling.
Now you're talking Stroh's, now you're talking beer, now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is fucking beer.
When 100 nursery school kids were exposed to spinal meningitis, 2 pharmacists from Eckerd Drugs worked overtime against time itself. Mixing enough antibiotic, dose by dose, for each and every child. And through their dedication and concern, they stopped an epidemic before it started. To an Eckerd pharmacist, nothing's more important than your health.
Welcome back to our studios here in Atlanta. In that big intersectional clash up in West Lafayette, Indiana, it's been all Pitt now. They've scored 20 unanswered points, the latest a 35-yard field goal from Jeff Van Horn. He has 2 field goals, and they enjoy a 20-14 lead near the half. We'll have a lot more scores and highlights coming up at halftime.
Today's game is being brought to you by Stroh's and Stroh Light. Now you're talking good times, and Stroh's is spoken here. You're watching the Florida State University Marching Chiefs. More than 300 students participating. The director of the Marching Chiefs, Dr. Bentley Schellahamer. The drum major is Rodney Dorsey. And the theme of the music is jazz, featuring works by Menza, Mangione, the Count, and the Duke. But before we listen, I just wanted to update you on Dick Crum, North Carolina's coach. We understand that during the attempted interception by FSU linebacker Fred Jones, Crum was knocked down and possibly even passed out from being knocked down, injured his right leg, and that's when the incident happened, and you saw Dick Crum being carried off the field at halftime. We think he is okay. He was certainly conscious and appeared to be. We will get a further update on the injury to North Carolina's head coach Dick Crum on the sidelines and pass it along to you here at halftime. But right now, the Marching Chiefs from Tallahassee.
Good jazz and red-hot drumming seem to be made for each other. Let's listen to this swinging arrangement of Johnny One Note as we feature our own red-hot drums.
watching the Marching Chiefs, and that's Rodney Dorsey, the drum major, conducting there in the center of your picture with jazz renditions of some old-time classics here for you from Tallahassee. Back to our studios for highlights and updates right after this.
You'll see. Only nerds eat Kellogg's cornflakes. Tony Danza eats them. He does? Elton John. Kenny Loggins. Rob Lowe. Eat cornflakes.
It may surprise you who eats cornflakes, but not why. Great taste and solid nutrition. Make them a real breakfast hit.
Oh, wow. David Loomis eats them, too. Who's he? That hunk in my biology class.
How about the Kellogg's cornflakes now?
A typical day with the station wagon, except one thing's changed. The station wagon. The new Ford Taurus wagon, with the design and performance that make everyday driving more than an everyday experience.
Now there's an American car that has exactly what we've been looking for. Taurus, for us. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Super Football Saturday continues in studio with Kevin Slayton.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our studios here in Atlanta. Hope you're enjoying the telecast from Tallahassee, and we'll take this opportunity to catch you up on all of the scores and the highlights from around the country in today's college football world. To get you started off that key Southeastern battle down in Gainesville, Florida, the Gators have jumped out in front of fourth-ranked Alabama. Wayne Williams, a one-yard touchdown jaunt, and it's 7-0 Florida leading Alabama. That game is in the first quarter. Up in West Lafayette, Indiana, the game that we've been tracking for you all afternoon, Purdue and Pitt. This is Jeff George, the freshman quarterback. Touchdown pass to Lance Shive of 11 yards that put Purdue out 7-0. Then George went at it again, slips and falls, but gets up and throws 25 yards to Shive, and it was 14-0 Purdue. But since then, it's been all Pitt, as George has taken off the Superman cape, had an interception. He's fumbled a ball, Pitt going in there to make it 14-7, and here comes the interception. Billy Owens picks it off and takes it 40 yards to pay dirt. That tied it at 14. Jeff Van Horn has added 2 field goals, and Pitt is out in front of that one now, 20-14, and that game is nearing halftime up at Purdue. So the Panthers on a roaring comeback. In the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, Maurice Williams for Virginia Tech, 23 yards for the opening score, 7-0 Virginia Tech at that point. And then Robert Drummond comes in for Syracuse and goes over from a yard out. And that makes it 10-7. The Gobblers still in the lead. Syracuse 0-2 coming into this game, desperately in need of a victory at home. And then Chris Kinzer for Virginia Tech, who's been hot all afternoon, with his third field goal attempt of the first half. He bangs it home, 16-10. Virginia Tech is in the lead in that game. Now in the third quarter up at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse, the Orangemen, if they lose that one, would get off to an 0-3 start. And certainly no one up in Syracuse expected that. Checking some of the rest of the scores for you. Wake Forest leading North Carolina State 24-7. That in the second quarter. Look at this one. Houston 21-3 now. Oklahoma State has added a field goal late in the second quarter. Pat Jones at Oklahoma State is going to start feeling the heat. They lost to Tulsa last week, and they're being embarrassed by Houston at home this week. Oregon State and Michigan. That one's at Ann Arbor, and Oregon State proving a little bit stubborn. The third-ranked Wolverines leading 7-3. The Beavers went up 3-0, and Michigan came back, and they lead it in the first quarter. Maryland out in front of West Virginia's second quarter score. The 22nd-ranked Terps lead it 7-0. Ohio State and Colorado. Here's 2 teams that desperately need a victory. Both are 0-2, neither expected to be there. But Ohio State, humbled by Washington last week up in Seattle, is out in front of the Buffaloes. That game being played in Columbus, 3-0. The strength of a Buckeye field goal. Kentucky leading Kent State. That game a first quarter score. Kentucky's Wildcats 16-0. Checking some of the Ivy League scores, the early starting games. Cornell out in front of Princeton 16-0. That game is in the second quarter. And we will come back to recap some of the other scoring for you and check out all of the college football happenings after this on the TNT Network.
I'm Hurley Rudd. To be an effective state representative takes time to listen to the people and time to act. As Tallahassee's city commissioner and mayor, I took the time to hear what you had to say. City Hall records show that in 1985, I responded to almost 4 times as many citizen requests as my opponent. As your District 10 state representative, I will be just as accessible, just as willing to listen, and just as willing to act. I'm Hurley Rudd. I'll thank you for your vote and support on September the 30th.
At Adventures in Travel, automation is the key to cutting your business travel expenses.
Today's travel is complex. On a single flight, there may be as many as 5 different airfares. Our combination of 2 computer systems allows us to give you the lowest seat price available.
We can show you how our free services can help reduce your business travel expense by as much as 30 to 50%.
Adventures in Travel, North Florida's most sophisticated travel agency.
Star Trek, Saturday night at 7 on 27.
Welcome back to our Atlanta studios, updating that Pittsburgh-Purdue game for you. Pitt has scored again. They've now run off 27 consecutive points, and they lead over Purdue 27-14 as that game nears the end of the first half. Checking some of the other Ivy League action for you. Penn and Dartmouth doing battle in the second quarter. 10-0. Penn leads it. Brown over Yale, 7-0. That one in the first quarter. Columbia and Harvard, the Crimson, playing up there in Cambridge, and they're tough there. They lead Columbia 10-0, that one in the first quarter. Bowling Green and Central Michigan out of the Mid-American Conference, they're all squared off at 10. Game is in the second quarter. Connecticut leading Richmond 9-7. That contest also advancing into the second quarter. And Long Beach State has journeyed into the Midwest to play Western Michigan. In the second quarter, they're all tied at 7 apiece. Some of the games that don't have the big marquee value, but they certainly do produce some high-powered NFL players. Bethune-Cookman updating for you, leading 10-6 over Howard in the second quarter. Maine leading Rhode Island 14-0. That game also in the second quarter. Our game this evening that will kick off at 7 o'clock Eastern Time features Nebraska going to Champaign, Illinois to battle the Fighting Illini. And our Skip Carey, who will be in Champaign to call the game, had a chance to sit down and talk with Illini head coach Mike White.
Coach, what are you going to do to beat Nebraska? And I know that's a loaded question.
Well, they're a great football team, Skip, and we respect them. And we know it's the kind of football team that's going to bring out the best in our players and our fans. And I think it's just a great college spectacle. And, again, we're just going to give it our best shot.
Does it concern you when you print 2 deeps and theirs are all 3 and 4 deeps on the speed cards?
I'm just glad you can only play 11 at a time, and that's key. But, again, I think they're a good football team. And like I say, they've built a tremendous program that we're trying to emulate.
Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Thanks very much, Skip.
Paul Horning and I will have Nebraska-Illinois football later on tonight here on TBS.
All right, thank you very much, Skip. Of course, that game again kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. And don't forget to tune in for that. We'll be along with all the scores and highlights all day and all evening for you to keep you updated. And before we go back to Tallahassee, let's take an up-close look at both of those schools in that game, North Carolina and Florida State.
Faculty members at Florida State University have been recognized with such honors as the Nobel, the Pulitzer, and membership in the National Academy of Sciences. With a diversity of backgrounds, these faculty members provide leadership throughout Florida State's 15 schools and colleges. Known nationally and internationally for research, service, and publishing, FSU faculty exert their greatest impact teaching the university's 23,500 students. Faculty excellence is evident as they conduct research with the world's most powerful supercomputer, contribute to future creative genius in the performing arts, work on social science policies affecting the state, the nation, and the world, and directly influence and prepare tomorrow's leaders. At Florida State, faculty are recognized for their excellence in teaching in the classroom and the laboratory, and in fields of research around the globe. Thanks to this educational foundation, Florida State graduates excel in virtually every walk of life. An example of quality making a difference, the faculty of Florida State University.
At the University of North Carolina, people make the difference. For most students at Chapel Hill, getting to class is only the beginning of their education. When undergraduates work with some of the top researchers in their fields, seeing is more than just believing, it's experiencing. They hear about a discovery long before it's printed in a textbook, creating an atmosphere that thrives on teacher-student interaction. At the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, that's what getting an education is all about.
North Carolina leading Florida State by a score of 7-0 at halftime here at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida. Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you. Been a very strange first half. A little bit disorienting, maybe even, for the offenses of both teams. Defenses are playing well. Let's take a look at the highlights. The only offensive scoring came on the part of North Carolina. It was set up in this play. Late in the first quarter, quarterback Jonathan Hall connects for 35 yards to James Thompson, the fullback, number 40, on a third down play and takes it deep into Seminole territory. And then 2 plays later, Hall will connect with Eric Streeter, number 25. This is a 14-yard touchdown pass. The point after good. It's 7-0 Florida State. Now, it could have been worse. This is a fake field goal attempt. Backup quarterback Mark May. But FSU saw it coming. He's knocked down. They take over the ball. They can't get anything going, though, because the FSU offense is having problems defensively. Chip Ferguson being sacked, losing the ball 4 times. Florida State quarterbacks went down in the first half. This is North Carolina head coach Dick Crum. He was injured on a play right prior to the first half ending on an attempted interception by FSU's Fred Jones. One of the players rolled off the field into the leg of Dick Crum. He has stretched or strained ligaments and will be back out in the second half with a brace. So he took his injury. He's back playing hurt in this game. We hope he'll be okay.
Right. That's not how you want to get carried off the field if you're a coach, right? But a good defensive game. FSU front doing a good job against the North Carolina run, allowing less than 40 yards in the first half. And, of course, North Carolina putting a lot of pressure on the Florida State quarterbacks.
One quick line, we're in a hurry here, but anything to look for Florida State-wise offensively in the second half to maybe get some on track?
I think what they'll try to do is, whether they go with Willis or back with Ferguson, they'll try to get back to the shorter passing game. Eliminate the flankers from the passing attack and then get back to the backs, the screens, the quick hitches, something to give some continuity and some confidence back to their quarterbacks.
We'll take a look at it in a moment when we return to Tallahassee.
Once in a while, a deal comes along that sounds too good to be true. Well, this time, believe it. It's true. Palmer Harold Buick has 2.9% financing on all 1986 Buicks. 2.9% or giant cashback rebates on every Regal, every Century, every Somerset, every Electra, in fact, every 86 Buick on the lot. But it's also true that at these rates, the best selection won't last long. So hurry to Palmer Harold Buick Isuzu, where once again, we make quality affordable.
All the girls are talking about the carpet shop.
I feel like the large selection. What would a woman do without available financing? Charge it, of course. They've been in business 25 years. It's first quality carpet. They never buy second. Definitely the value.
All the girls are talking about the carpet shop right next door to Oldfield Interiors.
Rogers Atkins Insurance.
Is Mr. Roger Atkins in?
The best insurance agency in Tallahassee, Roger Atkins. I know him personally.
Tallahassee's leading insurance agency is Rogers Atkins. Rogers with an S. Call Rogers Atkins. Leadership? Oh, no. Rogers Atkins Insurance. Leadership you can trust.
Oh. Every day, News Site 27 reporters and videographers pack up here and head out to cover the news of North Florida. At the same time, the 300 broadcast journalists of the Florida News Network are doing the same thing. Our membership in FNN is pretty exciting when you consider that just 2 years ago, we had only 5 people in our newsroom. And this month, we start doing news 7 nights a week. So, if you're watching someone else's local news, I'd like to ask you to watch ours. News Site 27, now 7 nights a week.
Doak Campbell Stadium, where they have 57,611th in attendance here today. That's the 4th largest crowd in FSU history. They wondered a little about the crowd after the tragedy to the player earlier this week, and day games are out of the ordinary in Tallahassee, but apparently the folks have adjusted. Big crowd in Tallahassee for today's game with North Carolina. Tar Heels leading 7-0, and this second half is underway. Eric Starr takes it deep in the end zone, elects not to return it. It'll come out and be first down 10 at the 20-yard line. Just moments ago, North Carolina head coach Dick Crum came out of the dressing room to begin the second half with a cast on his leg. That's a temporary cast. You could call it a brace. He strained his knee ligaments during a play over on the North Carolina sideline, an attempted interception by FSU's linebacker Fred Jones. One of the players, not necessarily Jones, rolled into his knee.
Carolina at
Dick
the 20.
Crum went down. You can
Jonathan
see
Hall,
he's suffering a little bit of pain, but he'll be out with the brace and the crutches here in the second half. 1st and 10, Tar Heels from the 20. And off to the tailback. Got about 6 yards. It's William Humes, the senior, tackled by 55, Fred Jones. And we're going to see Dick Crum without the headsets and sitting on the sideline. He looks like he's suffering.
Humes, the ball carrier for North Carolina. Stop made by Fred Jones and
situation.
Greg
You haven't
Newell.
had that in real life. Now, the only difference is most people have shoulder pads on when that happens, but that doesn't mean it hurts any less. Stretched sounds delicate. It isn't. It's there's a lot of pain in that knee of his right now. I wonder if he might be better off upstairs.
2nd down 2. Lopp gets the first down to the 34-yard line. Might be. Could give
Brad
a better
Lopp, the
view
ball
of the game
carrier.
from that bench area. So, and he is very involved. Rick Brewer, the sports information director of North Carolina, you were saying Dick Crum wears headphones, right? As you look at the stats, he says, does he wear headphones? I think he sleeps in them, so he won't be able to use them very much right now. It is 1st down 10 from the 34-yard line. Tar Heels. 2 running plays. They pick up the 1st down. They go into the tailback. Humes again. This time he stopped at the line of scrimmage. Stanley Shiver will get credit for the initial
William
hit.
Humes, the ball carrier for North Carolina.
Tim, I
Stan
wonder what
Shiver
went on in
making
the
the
locker
initial
room
stop for the Seminoles.
of the Florida State dressing room at halftime. Bobby Bowden had to deal with the tragedy, the death of Pablo Lopez all week. Happened early Saturday morning a week ago here on the Florida State campus during that off weekend. They're trailing 7-0. The team has not been sharp. What did he say, do you think?
Well, I don't feel like he referenced the Lopez tragedy at all. He just tried to get the offensive line together, try to find out what North Carolina is doing on defense.
Oh, plenty of time. Has a man open. However, it's picked off by Sanders. Tackled at the 18-yard line. Intended for 32, Eric Lewis. Number 2, Deion Sanders. His 2nd interception of this football game. This man's only a sophomore. He'll be an All-American.
2nd down, he's going to air it out. In the past against Kansas and in previous games this year against the Citadel, they had a tendency to go to the backs, and what they tried to do is catch Florida State in some kind of blitz, some kind of man-to-man coverage. But Sanders seems to be ever alert. Just an excellent athlete, and was in great shape on Lewis and made the catch.
Deion Sanders, a sophomore from Fort Myers. He's 6 feet tall, 180 pounds, just a classic defensive back size. Here's Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith goes out of bounds on the far sideline at the 31-yard line, ran out by 37, Derek Donald. A 12-yard 1st down run for freshman Sammy Smith. Dick Crum on the sideline.
It's got to be awfully frustrating for Dick in that situation. He can't see anything. He probably is, not really a motivational sight there for the player to look back and see his coach injured on the sideline, and
could affect the team, particularly one who's involved in the game as Dick Crum normally is.
Exactly.
1st and 10 from the 31. No penalty markers despite the pre-snap movement there. Gain of about a yard. 30, Tanner Holloman carrying the ball. Florida State trying to find a soft spot of some sort in this excellent North Carolina defensive team. As Tim has been telling you, it's kind of a loose tackle 6, 8-man front, meaning simply that it's very difficult to run on this football team, and Florida State hasn't passed effectively.
And they've done a nice job. Denny Marson's done a nice job of changing up that 8-man front to a 7-man front by moving Norris Davis out and spreading out Walter Bailey.
2nd down 9 from the 32 for the Seminoles. Out of the eye, and they go to Sammy Smith. Gives him a limp leg, but doesn't get much more. He stopped short of the line of scrimmage. Ron Burton having himself a whale of a game at the defensive tackle position today. A couple of sacks, 6 tackles. The offensive line for Florida State with their problems.
Little cross block in there. You see number 66, Parrish Barwick. It's kind of neutralizing him, Bob, and they're a big front, but there's still the most important thing in offensive line play is coordination. You have to be pointed in the right direction. I don't care how big the gun is. If it's not pointed at the target, it's not going to do any good. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the development of those 5 players there.
3rd down 11. This is Peter Tom Willis. He completes it. to Sammy Smith, short of the first down. Out to the 38-yard line, Norris Davis with the tackle.
Sammy Smith is not used to being on the receiving end of a pass. He's been pretty much a tailback. He's used to handling the toss, the pitch. The biggest adjustment that a good running back has to make coming into college is getting used to catching the football. That time he made the reception, and but a good tackle kept him from making the first down, which he had an opportunity to do.
Here's the Berry punt. A line drive. It's bobbled by Starr. Fallen on at his own 5-yard line. And North Carolina has problems in their punt and kick return game. Both Starr and Lewis trouble keeping the hold of that football when they grab it. North Carolina leads, but they're in a hole now.
Take a close look at the car that was the world's best-selling car in 1982, in 1983, 1984, and 1985. You probably know what it is. It's Ford Escort. Ford Escort, world's best-selling car, 4 years running.
Now get 2.9 financing or up to $500 cash back direct from Ford.
Here's to you, Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
This Bud's for you.
Fred Biletnikoff may have been the most famous FSU receiver, but in the opening game of the 1963 season against Miami, the former Raider great made like Tim Foley and intercepted a hurricane pass. He didn't stop till he hit pay dirt 99 yards later. The 4th longest scoring play in FSU history. You've covered Biletnikoff a time or two. But let me interrupt here before we do that. We do have a quarterback change for North Carolina. We almost missed telling you about it here, looking back at the past. Mark May is in there. He's a junior from Charlotte. He played a little bit against Kansas, coming off severe injuries. Most highly recruited quarterback in the country 3 years ago. Hands it off to Lott, gets it out to the 8-yard line. Gerald Nichols makes the stop. So this will be an interesting change of the North Carolina offense. They're more mobile. Jonathan Hall with Mark May now. Jonathan Hall only a sophomore, but May is really, even though he's a junior, has less experience than Hall due to his injuries.
Exactly. Hall is a type of quarterback they're used to at North Carolina from the early 70s. Paul Miller, then Kupex, Stan Cabbage. Hall is a pure pocket passer.
Here's Fenner trying to break tackles. Unsuccessfully down at the 10-yard line. Thomas Harp with the tackle.
And as you mentioned, probably the most highly recruited athlete in that particular year. Went to North Carolina and had surgery on his shoulders, had a problem in a rotator cuff, and they weren't sure whether he was really going to be able to ever throw the ball again with the same kind of velocity. But talking to people at North Carolina, they feel like he's ready.
Big defensive play here for the Seminoles. 3rd and 5, Carolina, from their own 10. May, under pressure, down he goes. Did they get him? They got him at the 2-yard line. Gerald Nichols with the sack. Gerald Nichols, the big play defensive player, had a lot of help from 37 Stanley Shiver.
Kind of atypical play calling down in this area. You'd expect a draw or something that is not as risky as that, but just a great play by the Gerald Nichols and the Florida State defense.
Remember, FSU's good at blocking punts, and they do it. They block it out of the end zone. And we've got a safety in the end zone on the blocked punt. Felton Hayes, number 46, blocked it out of the end zone for a safety.
So you can see it coming in from the top, right on the ball. No chance by Miller to get the ball off. 2 points.
This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
You've never seen savings like you will now at Courtesy. With 2.9% financing and rebates up to $1,500, the time is now to make your best deal on a new Oldsmobile. And Courtesy will put you in a new Nissan truck for a low $95.06 per month. Tremendous discounts, too, on every car, new and used. Now, more than ever, come to Courtesy and drive home a deal. Courtesy, Highway 90 West at the Capitol Circle.
Join the winning team at Governor's Square. For football, fashion, and fun, nobody has more Seminole spirit than we do. With the best variety of quality specialty stores, plus Moss Brothers, JCPenney, Sears, and the food court, Governor's Square means one-stop shopping for the whole family. And rain or shine, take Caltrans Tribe Ride from Governor's Square to Campbell Stadium. Why sit in traffic? Tribe Ride from Governor's Square. This football season, join the winning team at Governor's Square. We're just your style.
Felton Hayes, who made his way to the starting defensive team by special teams plays. Number 46 with the punt block off Miller.
They call this the block party for Florida State. They've been famous over the last several years under the direction of assistant coach Jim Gladden. They've blocked a lot of punts here at Florida State. 2 points there. Not all that bad for North Carolina. It might have been worse if that ball had creeped out of the end zone and Florida State would have been in a good position to score 7.
So Felton Hayes, a blocked punt, a quarterback sack, 4 tackles, 1 pass broken up, having himself a whale of a day in the outside linebacking position in special teams for Florida State. Now the free kick from the 20-yard line.
Not a good one.
No, it's taken by Sanders at the 30, to the 40, to the 50, to the 42-yard line of North Carolina. The hometown crowd of the Seminoles comes to life here. Joe Boggs with the tackle, a 26-yard return. Excellent field position. It's now North Carolina 7, Florida State 2, and let's see if the Seminoles, who were highly ineffective previously on offense, can get anything going under Peter Tom Willis from Mortimer Jordan High School in Morris, Alabama, a redshirt freshman. Was a Class 4A Player of the Year his senior year in Alabama, and that says a lot in that state. Hands the ball off to Tanner Holloman, who gets the first down up the middle. The offensive line really opening up the middle of the defensive front of North Carolina.
Good explosion, too, by Tanner Holloman. Let's watch Florida State come off the ball. A drop step there by Kuipers. They cross block it, and Holloman hits it. You know, and that's the way a back should attack the hole.
Second down, 1, just short inches from the first down at the 32-yard line. Here's Sammy Smith. Big hole for the 21. Tackled by 16, Howard Feggins. So the blocked punt seemed to have ignited the offensive line.
This is the first time I've really seen Sammy Smith explode. Leg drive. Looks like he's wanting to go someplace on that particular carry.
Smith with 11 carries, 61 yards. He is this game's leading rusher. Gainer splits wide right, Holloman wide to the left side. First down at the 21-yard line. Here's Holloman, quick opener. He drives to the 17-yard line. Carlton Bailey, the defensive guard, with the tackle for the Tar Heels. This offensive line able to be effective up the middle all of a sudden.
Little pull there by Parrish Barwick gave Holloman some space on that play.
See that Tim Hebron is in at a tackle position now. That strong tackle slot. Second down 7 from the 18. Peter Tom Willis, the freshman quarterback. Pitches to Sammy Smith. Sammy Smith fumbles. Looked like he fell on it, but we're not sure. They'll have to wrap him off the ball down there. We'll wait for the men in the striped shirt to signal. North Carolina football. Tar Heels have stopped the Seminole drive on the Sammy Smith fumble.
Let's see who got a hat on it. Tim Goad. White. White put the hat on him.
Looked like Colombo possibly fell on it. 95, 93 Davis going for it also.
And watch for Feggins too, coming in here, number 16. Close to the ball. Big play defense. Big play defense. Turnovers.
Two turnovers for both teams. First down, 10 from the 17. Carolina now leading 7-2. Florida State with momentum. It got stopped by that fumble. Handoff here to the tailback, number 12, Fenner. He gets to the 18-yard line. And there's the man we think got the ball, number 95, Colombo. From Zaire. His father's a diplomat in Washington.
Never played football till 2 years ago. Entered spring practice as just a fill-in for Reuben Davis and came out the starter.
Kubi Colombo, what a beautiful name, too. Second down 8. From the 19-yard line, pitch back to Fenner. Fenner spinning and twisting his way for a yard or two, not much more, out to the 22. 80, Terry Warren with a stop for the Seminoles. Here's a chance for the Seminole defense to rescue the offense again. And Bobby Bowden said that thus far in this 1-1 season, this erratic and very unusual season for Florida State, it's been the defense rescuing, holding off the opposition until the offense finds itself.
It has to happen. The defense has to prevent the scoring while the offense more or less gets its act together up front.
3rd and 4 from the 22 for the Tar Heels. They need this one to maintain the drive. Mark May under pressure. Screen pass. There was a great block thrown there on Fred Jones, who was back covering, or was that Shiver, who cleared him up here, and he's going to be close to the first down.
So the block was on Fred Jones, Bob, by Pat Crowley. The ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage, so this is a legal play. Whoop, wait a minute.
Whoa.
Might have had a little rap there. Now, it's legal to block them. It's not legal to tackle them, Pat.
They're going to have to bring the chain in to measure. It's very close to the first down. It was 3rd and 4. This is a very big measurement. Looked like he got it to me. They put that stick down by about 3/4 of the length of the football. It is a North Carolina first down, and they get some breathing room to the 27-yard line after recovering the fumble of Sammy Smith. Each team has turned the ball over 2 times in this game, and there's the injured Dick Crum, Carolina's head coach. He's going to have surgery tomorrow, we learned just moments ago, on his right leg. Bobby Bowden working the officials, not happy with the spot of that ball, the first down call.
I'm sure he's talking about the holding on the screen pass also.
You bet on that. Mark May hands it to Fenner. Fenner's danger is out there. He's a big one. You see how hard he is to tackle. 32-yard line. Fenner is 6'4", weighs 225.
There's Hayes McGowan. McGowan stepping up field. Freddie Jones pursuing to the outside as Stanley Shiver gets the hit, and then the rest of that Florida State pursuit gets to Fenner.
Second down 5 from the 32. This time to the fullback, Thompson, nowhere. Closed up the middle. Gerald Nichols with his 7th tackle of the day for Florida State.
And he's the emotional leader in that defensive line. They felt that way about Gerald last year, and after the graduation of Williams and Stroud and Shavers, he becomes that much more important in there.
5 defensive backs in there for Florida State. It's 3rd and 4 again. Last 3rd and 4, Carolina converted their 3rd down. Carolina is 4 out of 11 on 3rd down conversions. They lead in this ball game. We're in the 3rd quarter. It's Carolina 7, Seminoles 2. Here's the option. Out to Fenner with the outside speed, but he falls down short of the first down at the 33. Derek Dodge will have credit, but Fenner just simply went down on the natural turf down there. Turf's in good shape. He just slipped on the cut. And Ken Miller comes in to punt. Deion Sanders goes back to take the punt. 4:11 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Coming with the blitz in a possession situation. North Carolina tried to cross him up with the option. Well played by the Seminoles.
All 10 of them coming after that punt. Nobody gets there. Sanders at the 26. Sanders to the 46-yard line. Good 44-yard line. A good return. He was tackled by 34, Richie Milligan. 3:45 to go, 3rd quarter. We'll be right back.
We're not a company, but no company has more pride in what they do, or more pride in how well they do it. We offer you a meaningful and fulfilling future, one that goes far beyond the ordinary, one that brings with it the respect and admiration of Americans everywhere. We're not a company, we're your country. We're the Air Force, the Marines, the Army, the Navy. We're the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start.
To make chili as good as my ma's, you need Italian tomatoes, Mexican beans, and my ma in the kitchen. How's it going, Ma?
How's your kitchen?
She's great. Knows just how hot I like it, and the tall, cold one I like with it. Natural Light, the beer with a taste for food. Ah, this is the life.
Get off the table.
Yeah, all natural, less filling. It's Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch.
Put a coaster under the beer.
Today's game is being brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer, who invite you to see the 1986 Ford cars and trucks. Have you driven a Ford lately? 3:45 to go in the third quarter. North Carolina 7, Florida State 2 on a punt that was blocked for a safety. Good field position for the Seminoles on their own 44-yard line. Hand off to Sammy Smith. He's the man who fumbled. Smith gets thrown for a loss back at the 41. Norris Davis with the tackle. Let's go to Atlanta for a college football update.
Thank you very much, Bob. And checking some of the scores, that big one down in the southeast, Florida still leading 7-0 over Alabama. That on a 1-yard touchdown run by Wayne Williams. Pitt at the half, 27-14 over Purdue. Pitt has scored 27 straight points. And here's the big upset of the day so far in the third quarter. Houston embarrassing Oklahoma State at home. Let's go back to Tallahassee.
Second down 13 from the 41-yard line. Receiver split wide to the bottom of your screen. That's Holloman in motion. Here's Peter Tom on the run. It is complete to Holloman, the fullback, and he is down to the 29-yard line. Tanner Holloman, the fullback, and the brother of Darren goes to the 29. Florida State first down. Watch the block by Sammy Smith here on Colombo as he comes around.
And North Carolina was all over that play fake. A good fake by Willis. Opens it up. White not able to knock the ball out of the air. And here comes Holloman. That play pass was really effective, Bob. Boom. Brett Rudolph, good stick.
Peter Tom Willis, 3 out of 3 for 40 yards passing the ball from the 28-yard line. Make it the 29. Here's Peter Tom again. He's going long. Looking down toward the end zone. Touchdown, Florida State, number 7. The true freshman Ronald Lewis, his first catch as a collegiate player is a 28-yard touchdown.
This is an up for grabs. He's running against Derek Donald. Now, Derek is one of the finest players that got at North Carolina. Couldn't gone up any higher, was in perfect position, but God just grew Lewis bigger.
Lewis is 6 feet tall, a true freshman. He's 18 years old from Jacksonville, Florida. First game he's played. They wanted to redshirt him because he's such a fine speed burner, good receiver. And Derek Donald, who's been playing great, 5'11", and he just was out-jumped by Lewis.
You know, and Donald has had a couple of interceptions, blocked 2 field goal attempts last week. Boom, look at Lewis go up for the ball. As fine a concentration as you'll ever see by a receiver. If that's a sign of things to come, Bobby's going to be smiling a lot in the next 4 years.
Derek Schmidt and the point after team huddling over here on the sideline. Remember, the score is now 8-7. Florida State. They may, I don't think they're going to, they may be thinking of something tricky here. You see them talking down there because a 2-pointer could get them in a little bit better shape, make it a 10-7 game, and it looks like it's going to be a low-scoring affair. Let's watch carefully what happens here.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll go for 2.
There goes Peter Tom back onto the field. The point after placement team comes to the sideline. Florida State going for 2 points. This is where Bowden has all kinds of tricks. Let's see what happens. They lead 8-7 now. Florida State with their first lead in the ball game.
You know, there's no telling. Denny Marson's on the sideline trying to decide what defense to call. There's no telling what to expect from Bowden. You may see a reverse, but most probably you'll see some type of rollout action or play pass action.
Tanner Holloman and Sammy Smith in the backfield. Gaynor and Darren the receivers. Willis into the end zone. It's there. 2-point conversion is good to Herb Gaynor, number 3. It's 10-7. Seminoles.
The decision was we don't need to be fancy, just strictly one-on-one. Skeet Baldwin and Ron Lewis. The ball's thrown on time by Willis. Touchdown.
This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
Now this is a busy place. Why? Because every week hundreds of people come to your five-star Ford dealer, Tallahassee Ford, to lease a car. Here's one reason why. You can drive the sporty 1986 Mustang XL for just $159.40 per month. Now, I can't guarantee you sunshine or rain, but when you lease from your five-star Ford dealer, Tallahassee Ford, you get 100% chance of low monthly payments and quality. Member Ford Authorized Leasing System.
September is Yamaha month at Auto Audio in the Stereo Store. Our annual factory authorized sale on all Yamaha electronics. Act now and enjoy Yamaha home stereo, car stereo, and video at the year's best prices. Complete home systems start as low as $699. Of course, financing or 90 days, same as cash, is available. Auto Audio, the Stereo Store, and Yamaha. Together in September, offering the best products at the very best prices.
56 yards in 3 plays and only a minute 13 seconds, and the Seminoles came back. It looked like when they had blocked that punt for the safety earlier, their offense had gotten some momentum. Smith fumbled the ball. Then they came back and drove down, went for the 2 points, and it's 10-7. We also must say that we have to ask whether or not Peter Tom Willis and his insertion into the ball game has made a difference in this Florida State offensive team. Peter Tom Willis is 4 out of 4 for 68 yards and 1 touchdown, and the one that doesn't count statistically, the conversion, 2-point conversion pass.
I don't think there's any question about it that he's made a difference in there in terms of momentum and in terms of performance. But the biggest difference was made by Ronald Lewis making that catch.
Remember last year, FSU came back from a 10-0 deficit to defeat North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Here's Starr with a pretty good run back out of bounds at the 33-yard line for North Carolina. He was chased out by 47 Kevin Grant. 2:26 to go, third quarter. And let's take a look at the touchdown once again. Peter Tom Willis throwing the ball, and the great catch by Lewis.
Florida State unable to come up with a big play to this point, and he makes the throw. Willis makes the throw with Norris Davis in his face, and just a perfect execution by Ronnie Lewis.
And good defense all the way by North Carolina. And off to the tailback. Fenner takes punishment after a yard gain at the 35-yard line. Harp with the initial hit for the Seminoles. The Tar Heels struggling rushing today. There's a penalty marker on the field. They were averaging 341 yards a game. They had only 61 in this game prior to that. And look at that, less than 2 yards a pop. Florida State's playing great defense against the Carolina Tar Heels.
And with the exception of the Thompson catch and the Streeter catch, they pretty much eliminated the big play from North Carolina's offense. I think the longest run was 13-yard, a 13-yard effort by Fenner.
Defense, first down.
Against Florida State, it'll be first down 5. Defense offsides. 10-7 Seminoles, first lead of the game. Tar Heels coming back. Lop, the fullback, with very little, stopped at the 40. Harp with his 5th stop of the day. Defensive line, particularly Nichols and Harp, played very well for Florida State here today. They've really shut down this run. Not to mention the play by Hayes, Jones, McGowan, and Warren, those linebackers.
And they're a big bunch up there. Last year, they only averaged about 255 pounds. This year, it's almost 275, 280. The old Ritz Blitz is going to get them.
This is second down 3 from the 40. Here's Lop, the fullback. First down. Can he get outside? Yes. Lop inside Seminole territory to the 45-yard line. That running game now starting to get untracked a little bit.
It's a matter of breaking tackles. Good job of blocking by North Carolina. Opens a hole, and then Lop beats Curtis Thomas. Picks up about 12 more yards. And one statistic that coaches are starting to keep now is, for a running back, how many tackles do you break? And for a defense, how many yards are gained after we miss the first tackle?
Tailback Fenner takes his 225 pounds inside the 40 to the 39-yard line. Gain of about 6 on that play. Odell Haggins with the stop for Florida State.
Florida State fans are used to seeing exciting offense, a lot of different things happening. You know, anytime you've got a team that lives by the run, what you see is this style of offense: 3 yards, 2 yards, 1 yard, 4 yards. But before the game's over, you usually see a 30 or 40-yard run, or like last week against Mississippi State, a 70-yard run.
Here's a reverse. It's 87 Quentin Smith. He gets the first down, and he goes down at the 27. Tracy Sanders, number 16, tripped him up. An 11-yard gain by Quint Smith from Alexandria, Virginia.
Good call here, and it's set up well. And right here, Quentin wishes he was just a little bit faster. If I could have got there a split second earlier, I might have had some daylight.
So North Carolina started this drive on their 33. They are at the 28 of Florida State. They get only to the 26 on this play. Harp stops Brad Lopp.
One of the things that concerned Bobby Bowden was the fact that they're working on throwing the ball so much it might reduce some of their toughness offensively. And I think that when you get into too much strategizing on offense, that can happen. There are times when you just got to buckle your chin strap and go get them.
That's the end of the third quarter, with Florida State leading North Carolina by a score of 10-7. We'll be back to Tallahassee right after
this. Strength, pride, tradition. For centuries, the Clydesdale has been known as a special breed. Today, the Clydesdales symbolize Budweiser's dedication to quality, superior ingredients, exclusive Beechwood aging, for a distinctively clean, crisp taste you find only in the king of beers. Dedication to quality. You know what it means, because it shows in everything you do. Quality taste, because this Bud's for you.
This is Super Football Saturday on Turner Network Television.
Would you like to be driving the 1986 F-150 Ford pickup truck? You can, and with low monthly payments. Just $210.89 per month from your 5-star Ford dealer, Tallahassee Ford. The F-150, built Ford tough, with all the proven performance and comfort that real truck lovers want. I can't guarantee you sunshine or rain, but I can guarantee you low monthly payments and quality from your 5-star Ford dealer, Tallahassee Ford. Member Ford Authorized Leasing System.
Every day, News Site 27 reporters and videographers pack up here and head out to cover the news of North Florida. At the same time, the 300 broadcast journalists of the Florida News Network are doing the same thing. Our membership in FNN is pretty exciting when you consider that just 2 years ago, we had only 5 people in our newsroom. And this month, we start doing news 7 nights a week. So, if you're watching someone else's local news, I'd like to ask you to watch ours. News Site 27, now 7 nights a week.
Star Trek, Saturday night at 7 on 27.
Tallahassee, Florida State 10, North Carolina 7. Second down, 6 from the 25 for the Tar Heels. Fenner breaking a tackle, but not the second and third attempt, and he goes down at the 25-yard line. 16 Sanders and 38 McGowan on the stop for the Seminoles. Today's game, portions of today's game, have been brought to you by the Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. So here's this third down situation again now for the Tar Heels. They've been lately very successful on third down conversions. This will be third down 6, and the Tar Heels are 4 out of 11 on the game. May almost pulled them offside. Did get them to move enough to get the first down on the handoff to Fenner around the right side. Fenner goes out of bounds at the 15, a 10-yard gain.
You can see Florida State is poised to blitz here. May managed to jump him. And it's something that, good block on McGowan, can't get his feet under him to make the hit on Fenner, and then Sanders knocks him out of bounds. But that's something that'll go really unnoticed but a big, big key in getting your team an edge. A little jump there.
And the Seminoles hold here inside their 15. We'll see. Here comes Fenner with a yard, not much more. North Carolina in definite field goal distance. They have a short field goal kicker. I don't mean his stature, although he is only 5'10", Lee Gliarmas, who's a straight ahead kicker who kicks them when they're inside about 30 yards or more away from the end zone. And Ken Miller kicks the long one, so they are in field goal territory here at the 14-yard line. Dick Crum with a lot of pain in that right leg, trying to see over his much taller than him players.
It's a disadvantage of having a big team.
Second down 9 from the 14. Fenner going to get outside, bounces it outside to the 10, to the 6. Fenner is a good big runner, an 8-yard gain, and I have to keep reminding you that this guy is 6'4" and 225 pounds out of that tailback position. That is a large man carrying the football. He's bigger than taller than the defensive, some of the defensive linemen for Florida State.
You know, one of the difficult things for folks like Fenner and Sammy Smith, that they're praised so much at such an early age, and sometimes all this can get caught out of perspective. Dick Crum's done a good job disciplining that young man.
3rd and inches, Lop thrown for a loss, short of the first down. Big defensive play by 38, Paul McGowan, who made the penetration.
McGowan gets a crack inside. It's not a blitz. He reads it from his linebacker position and just leaves his feet, makes a leaping stop behind the line of scrimmage. Big play.
He leaped through and over the pulling offensive lineman for North Carolina. McGowan, 6'1", 225, went through a man much bigger than he. Here's the straight-ahead kicker, Lee Gliarmas. It will be about a 23-yard attempt.
Tough angle.
It's good, and we have a 10-10 tie in Tallahassee with 12:14 to go in this ball game. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
Our business rides on these trucks every day. It takes a lot of dedicated people to keep them rolling. We've got the best at Maples.
We have the big job every day at Maples.
We're committed to our customers at Maples.
We make it better. We move fast at Maples.
Our trucks are rolling because our people are the best. That's why we've stayed on top.
Maples, the concrete choice.
People are rushing to buy. With 2.9% interest, our 86 Pontiacs, Oldsmobiles, and GMC trucks are going fast. But at Thomas Motor Cars, we won't rush you. Buying a new car is a big decision, and you don't need to be pushed. Now, we've tried to make extra cars available for this sale, but the selection is still limited. So rush to Quincy. But don't worry, once you're here, we won't rush you. Thomas Motor Cars, Pontiac Olds, GMC, and 2.9% interest in Quincy.
Wyoming smelling an upset up in the Rockies at Colorado Springs. Scott Runyon to Eric Loftus, 24 yards for the Cowboys touchdown. They lead over Air Force, 14-7 first quarter.
There's the hard-working TBS cameraman, hard at work. That's Ben Butin. I'm sure he was getting game information there from one of the assistants on the sideline. 12:14 to go in this ball game. And North Carolina, on 23-yard Lee Gliarmas field goal, has tied this game at 10. It's been a strange one. A touchdown and a field goal for Carolina. A touchdown, a safety, and a two-point conversion for Florida State. Number 13, Dexter Carter, goes to the 29-yard line. He was tripped up by number 21, Randolph Bowers. It's always party time in Tallahassee, particularly on football Saturdays. Normally it's football Saturday night here, but this is the 4th largest crowd in FSU history, over 57,000.
The family effect.
Co-eds and a co-ed to be. I guess it's not cool to call the young women students co-eds anymore, but it's tough to change old ways, folks. Meant no harm by it. First down 10 from the 30-yard line now. Seminole football tied 10-10. 12 minutes of football action to go, and this game's getting to be pretty interesting. Peter Tom Willis, the quarterback. Plenty of time in the pocket. Diving grab by Victor Floyd, the tailback. And Floyd goes to the 47-yard line. 23-yard reception, and Willis is suddenly 5 out of 5.
Good protections, got good vision on the receiver. Plops it right over the head there of Brett Rudolph. They're clearing out the area. That's Bryant and Lewis creating the seam, and Floyd comes in there.
On 1st and 10 from the 47. Here's a draw play to Victor Floyd, penalty marker at the line of scrimmage. We have 11:38 to go in this football game, tied at 10.
There's Denny Merson, his hat on backwards there, defensive coordinator for North Carolina. Trying to find the answers. To combat Peter Tom Willis.
He looks like John Thompson, Georgetown's coach. He's got the towel thrown over his shoulder.
So dead ball, illegal procedure on the offense. Repeat, first down.
That'll make it 1st and 15. Michigan having a tough time at home against Oregon State, 14-12 at half. Maryland out in front of West Virginia. Florida leading Alabama 7-0. That's a third quarter score. 1st and 15 from the 47 for the Seminoles inside their own territory after the motion call. Play fake. Plenty of time. Over the middle. It is complete. And that is number 9, Philip Bryant. And Bryant gets the first down at the 35, a 17-yard gain, and Denny Marson getting a little frustrated, Tim.
Well, he's shaking his head because they were in the coverage that would take that play away. Burmeister was sitting right in the middle of the field, about 20 yards deep. They call it in college football a robber defense, too deep with that weak safety sitting in the middle. That's his ball going the other way.
1st and 10 from the 35. Seminoles and Tar Heels tied at 10. 10 minutes to go in the game. Florida State driving. Here is Tanner Holloman inside 35 to about the 34. Not much that time. Reuben Davis denying him much yardage. Davis at 6'4", 280. And Peter Tom Willis, 6 out of 6 for 108 yards, 1 TD. He is a redshirt freshman, Alabama's 4A Player of the Year. And he and Ferguson came here at the same time to Florida State. May very well be the quarterback of the future.
He looks to the sidelines for the call from Brad Scott. Brad Scott signaling it in. Wayne McDuffie gets it down through Bowden. Brad Scott signals the play in.
2nd down 8. Just outside the 33. Play fake again, but here comes North Carolina on the blitz, and down he goes. It's 29, Walter Bailey. Bailey plays that position, the rover back position called Ram, which is a key position in this kind of defense.
Exactly, and he'd lined up out by the split end and drifted in, and he's almost like the will linebacker coming, like a Lawrence Taylor position coming in, and before Peter Tom had a chance to look downfield, he was looking up.
There have been 4 Tar Heel sacks now against Florida State. Norris Davis, Ron Burton, Mitch White, now Walter Bailey. Make that 5 sacks. It is 3rd down 23 from the 47. Peter Tom Willis again. A lot of time. Has a man open. It's Floyd. Incomplete. He threw it behind him. Couldn't quite find the ball. Could Floyd? At the 15-yard line, it goes incomplete. Coverage by 37, Derek Donald.
We'll watch the secondary here. Derek Donald does a nice job of coming off his man to help on Floyd. They start to get some depth. Donald is responsible for that deep half of the field, sees the ball in the air, comes back and makes the stick. Floyd had a chance to make the catch there.
Tar Heel player down. Looks like it's Derek Donald who's covering on the play.
And he makes the stick here on Floyd. Boom. Might have been a shoulder. They lost him for the last 4 games last year, and he really made a big difference. He's a steady performer that has a propensity to come up with a big play for him, and they'd be hard-pressed to be as effective without him.
It's going to be a punting situation for Florida State as Donald's helped off the field. Looks to be okay, and we hope he is. It'll be 4th and 22 from the 47, and Barry is in for his 7th punt of the day. He's averaging 46 yards per punt, however. 10-10 tie, 9 minutes, 31 seconds to go in this ball game. There the defense, the deep backs for the Tar Heels set to take the ball. It's 15 Bullock and 35 Starr, both the short man.
and they've mishandled 2 of them. So what happens now is all the coaches in North Carolina, their heart rate goes up by about 15 beats a second right now. Let it go.
It looks like it's going to go into the end zone, and does. Barry, who normally is really great at dropping that ball inside the 20, not being very successful at that today, has a great average, but not doing the job he wants to do inside the 20. 47-yard punt.
The great outdoors. We've got plenty of it here in Maine. One man, L.L. Bean, took our love of it and created some of the finest outdoor products. Clothing and footwear durable enough for wilderness, yet attractive enough for town. And service, he'd replace a button 20 years later. And it's all in a catalog we'll send you free. Just call toll-free 1-800-257-1234. L.L. Bean, for quality you might have thought long gone.
1986 Indianapolis 500 champion Bobby Rahal, winner of the fastest Indy in history. Continuing the winning tradition of Budweiser racing teams, Bobby took the checkered flag to win the Indianapolis 500. Racing fans, this Bud's for you.
Like 2 boxers slugging it out here. It's tied at 10-10. The defenses have been the story of the day. The crowd's not real nuts about the way the defenses have played, but both Florida State and North Carolina have done a great job on that side of the ball. 1st and 10 from the 20. Here's Finner, hit in the backfield, and once again, the defense comes up with a play. It's number 93 knifing in Shelton Thompson, a freshman from Lakeland, making the play for the Seminoles again. Back there at the 17-yard line. This telecast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by Florida State University and is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, rebroadcast, or retransmission of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game, in whole or in part, without the express written consent of Florida State University and the Turner Broadcasting System Incorporated, is prohibited. 2nd down 12. This is Thompson, the fullback. Nothing going again. Kevin Grant, another freshman from Ocala, Florida, leading the way. Number 47 for the Seminoles is the Seminoles' depth. They've had some great recruiting years the last couple of years with Florida on probation and all the great talent here in Florida. You can believe that this young Seminole team is going to really blossom in a year or two. You see so many youngsters.
You know, as Bobby Bowden said, the old guys on this team are sophomores. He's had some great classes, as you mentioned, and redshirted the people. Now he's got his situation defense in there. They're ready for the pass.
On a 3rd and 14 from the 16. May under pressure. Lets it loose. Has a man down there. Incomplete. Great coverage out in the corner. That's 32 Martin Mayhew, the junior from Tallahassee, covering 32 Eric Lewis, the wide receiver. Tremendous defensive play by the junior.
The calls we've seen in the recent weeks, you wonder if it's illegal to break up a pass, but it's just super job by Mayhew. Played the ball well. May looks downfield, lays it up there in good position. Lewis moving under it. Mayhew goes for the ball, had a chance to make the interception, but nice play.
Here comes Florida State after the punt. Miller gets it away. Deion Sanders is going to have good field position. It's 43. Wants to get around. Can he do it? I don't think so. Carolina's there. He finally decides to exercise good judgment and dive straight upfield. I like Deion Sanders as a punt returner. He gets it back to the 48-yard line. It was a 42-yard punt. He tried to stretch it out and some fancy stuff, but when he saw it wasn't there, he lowered his head and got the yardage he could.
That's right. And we've seen people run around back there and lose 30 yards. If it's not there, if you can't make it with your first reversal of field, then there's just too many folks starting to hang around, and the best thing to do is just take what you can get.
Now let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
This is WTXL TV Tallahassee.
Bob Neal and Tim Foley with you. 7:52 remaining in this game at Tallahassee. FSU 10, North Carolina 10. On the 1st down, Peter Tom Willis. Complete to Bryant. Close to the 1st down. He got the 1st down, I believe. It'll depend on the spot. They're moving the ball back a little. Davis covering. These are ACC officials under an agreement that when playing at Chapel Hill, Florida State takes Southern Independent officials. When playing here, ACC officials come into the ball game, and it is short by about the length of the football.
And on that play, Victor Floyd cleared it out for Bryant. opened up that short area for him, and Willis put it on the nose.
5 defensive backs in there for North Carolina on a 2nd down 1 from the 44-yard line of the Tar Heels. Pitch back to Victor Floyd. Hit in the backfield, broke the tackle. 1st down. To the 38-yard line goes Victor Floyd, tackled by 16 Howard Feggins. And Victor Floyd, also a sophomore he's one of the old men on this team, a sophomore. He is from Pensacola, and Floyd now coming in and getting some action going. And Peter Tom Willis is 7 out of 8 for 117 yards and a touchdown. He has really been effective since he replaced Chip Ferguson at the quarterback position.
He's getting a little bit more protection too, Bob. I think he's getting a little bit more time to throw the ball, and I think it's easier for most people to come off the bench. You have an idea of what you want to get accomplished. You've seen what's been going on.
From the 38-yard line, 1st down, Peter Tom Willis. There's that good protection again. Man open was Holloman, couldn't catch it. Would have been about an 8 or 9 yard gain at least. Had trouble with the handle on the ball. This is the water bug, 5'7" Darren Holloman. Oh, that's not the water bug. That's Dick Crum. Oh my.
Underneath pattern here. It's cleared out by the tight end, and here he goes. He's just letting the linebackers drift back, get some depth. Holloman's going to come underneath and make the catch. And that one slipped through on him.
2nd down 10. They'll spot the ball at the 38-yard line. Tied at 10, 6:37 to go in this football game. Seminole offense sputtering. Defensive played well both sides. Peter Tom Willis with great protection. It's what a picked off at the 13 or 14-yard line. 37 Derek Donald with a great interception. The 5th turnover of the day between these two teams, the 3rd for Florida State.
And this is Derek Donald's 3rd interception of the season. Look at this catch. How'd this guy get on defense? They can't catch like this. Look at him go up for the ball, gets his feet. Well, we can't really see it, but it looked like from up here, Bob, his feet were down in bounds.
I believe they were too, and that was definitely a quarterback interception. He had his man open. He was looking for Philip Bryant down there, overthrew Bryant. It would have definitely been a big 1st down reception for Florida State, but Peter Tom just got the ball up too high, and Derek Donald's a player. Three turnovers for FSU, 2 for North Carolina. This game tied at 10 with 6.5 to go. So every time these teams get something to go, either one of them, a defense comes up with a big play or there is an offensive mistake. That was Lopp with the ball carry that time.
Well, that was not a good throw, so you could say that was an offensive mistake, but you'd have to say it was a big play by the defense too. What a catch by Donald.
2nd down 7 from the 17. How many times can these defenses keep rescuing the offenses? There's a big play again. Fenner stopped after a gain of about 2. Fenner moving up toward the lead in rushing here for these teams. That's 71 yards and 21 carries now for Fenner. North Carolina's rushed for a team total of 118 yards. Remember, they had averaged 341 yards against Citadel and Kansas coming into this game. Time remaining, lower left-hand corner. It's tied at 10.
Traditionally, Florida State has not had trouble with the tailback-oriented offense, and they're displaying their prowess here.
3rd down 4 from the 20. Mark May, plenty of time. Incomplete. The receiver, Eric Streeter, did not get his feet in bounds.
Trying to get it to Streeter here, working against Mayhew, breaks it off the ball. A little bit late. A little bit more concentration needed by Streeter to try to force that foot in.
And Miller in for the punt. He's had a long afternoon of punting, too. This is his 7th punt. Lewis Berry has punted 7 times for Florida State. It's 4th and 4. Miller gets it away. A beauty. Takes Sanders back to his 23. And a great coverage there. And North Carolina, look at the broken field running by Deion Sanders. Oh, what a runner he is to the 44-yard line. Sucked him inside and took it outside. A 56-yard punt, but 20 yards on the return. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
This season, don't settle for just any seat. Come to Braun Motor Car Company. We have some special seats for luxury fans, sports fans, fun fans, off-to-work fans, family fans. And we have a whole lot of great ways to top off the game. Braun Motor Car, for the best seats and deals of the season.
At Amy Company, we take our construction very seriously. After all, our reputation is on the line with every phase of the job. Utilizing the most advanced techniques and materials is but the foundation of our commitment. It takes skill and meticulous attention to detail to cover every angle. We take the time to make sure the job is done right the first time. We care about the end result and know a job well done is satisfying for everyone. With Amy Company, you can rest easy because we build confidence with everything we construct.
Run by Dion Neon Sanders.
Once again, the kick separates him from the coverage. It's almost too deep and wasn't high enough, and it gives Sanders a chance to set it up. He wanted to get to the wide side. It wasn't there. A good job of containment by North Carolina forced him back into the near side, but he's such a great athlete.
Some say maybe the best athlete on an athletic team. I mean, there are a lot of great skilled players here. 1st and 10 from the 44, Florida State. Handoff to Sammy Smith. Spins out of the tackle. Good hard running by Smith, this time up to the 48-yard line. That may be the toughest run and the best run in terms of personal effort by Sammy Smith all day. Dick Crum, Carolina's coach, strained ligaments just prior to halftime when a player on the sideline play rolled into his leg. He's going to have surgery, arthroscopic surgery tomorrow, and he looks like he's in deep pain back there.
Usually when you have something like that happen to you, you get a little bit nauseous, and you know, he even looks a little pale. So I'm sure he's got some damage in that knee.
2nd down. Peter Tom all day going long. It's picked off, almost picked off again. Peter Tom Willis now starting to struggle. He came out here and went 6 for 6, but the closest man to that ball was the guy who dropped it. It was intended for 7 Lewis or 9 Bryant, and Skeet Baldwin, a freshman, had a chance to pick it off and simply dropped the ball.
I think he was trying to get this to number 9, Philip Bryant. Originally, he was looking down on the close side here. Florida State line giving him plenty of time all day to throw the ball. Skeet Baldwin in a quandary. He's got 2 people to cover, but the ball was overthrown, Bob.
Either could have caught it. Had it been deeper, of course, the deep man could have got it. Shorter could have been caught by the other receiver. Just poorly thrown. This is 3rd down 6 for the Seminoles. Willis, deep drop. Flags go down, and there's a big loss on the play. Just nothing happening that time. I'll tell you what, the Florida State offense just doesn't have the snap it has had. And you've got to credit this Tar Heel defense. They apply pressure on every one of these obvious passing situations.
I think that what the FSU brain trust on offense expected was a zone defense, and what they got was man-to-man. So they had a double screen set up, and it just wasn't able to develop.
There's a case where there was such a deep drop and such a good rush from the front 4 of North Carolina that there apparently may be a holding call coming up here, or illegal block. Bobby Bowden frustrated with his offense today, and he expected it to be a tough day. Also didn't know how his team would respond to the tragedy last week and the loss of Pablo Lopez.
Holding. Offense declined. 4th down.
Obviously, had Carolina taken that penalty, Florida State would have had another opportunity on the 3rd down, so they decline it. And the 8th punt of the day now for Lewis Berry. 4:13 to go in the game. It's tied at 10. Back there is 15 Bullock and 35 Eric Starr. 9 Carolina players coming for the ball. Berry gets away a pretty good punt. He was rushed a little bit. Starr lets it go, and he's going to take it at the 5. He's in trouble back there. For the 5, he goes down. 26, Alfonso Williams after the 55-yard punt from Lewis Berry. Berry did a great job that time. So was the coverage, I might add.
Coverage was excellent. The kick was a little bit off. I think that it prevented Starr from making the catch. The up man had an opportunity to take it, didn't do it. A decision like that back there can really hurt you, Bob. And that's why some coaches will just go with the receiver that's not got much speed, but you know he's going to just catch the football.
Look at that. The Carolina Tar Heels have passed it only 4 times in this entire half. Mark May 1 out of 3 for 4 times. The other pass thrown by the other quarterback. Here is Fennery, broken loose. first down run to get him out of trouble. That's what a great player can do for you. Derek Fenner, the tailback, gets him out of the hole. First down out near the 20.
I was just going to say, don't expect another pass here. The last time they passed when they were backed up, it led to a safety. Fenner pops through there, breaks a tackle of Fred Jones. He's an impressive looking back.
85 yards on the day, and he's so big, so strong. First and 10 from the 19 now. And here comes Fenner again. Look at that move. Oh, he's tough. Tie remains at 10. 3:27 to go in the game. This is getting down to kind of sudden death football now, because as this clock, North Carolina with that running game ability, they would love to consume about, there's 3:15 left. They'd like to take 3:14 and go down and get the points, leave Florida State with nothing to come back. So the Seminoles defense, which must be tired here this afternoon, having to stop that running play so often, has their hands full. And of course, Carolina just wants to control that ball. It'll be second down, very short yardage. And Tim, this might be an opportunity to see the Carolina football team throw the ball. Fenner taking a rest on the sideline.
Yep. Second and 1, it's almost a freebie. I wouldn't expect it here. If they throw it, they'll try to throw it deep, because they feel like they can come back on 3rd and short and get the first down.
Humes and Thompson in the backfield. Humes, the tailback, number 6. That's Thompson, 40 with the ball. I think he got the first down right up near the 30. He did get the first down. And Fenner, you see, they're looking at him on the sideline. Maybe he took a blow to the head or something. You just get a view of how big he is. He's almost a defensive lineman size.
If Thompson got the first down, he didn't have any fun getting it, though. Jones and McGowan are all over the field. Those two inside linebackers are probably as good as any pair that we've seen.
First and 10 from the 30. Mark May, the quarterback. The often injured junior. Play fake. Great arm. It is complete, and he gets it downfield to 32, Eric Lewis, for a first down. North Carolina coming out of here and moving the ball now. The clock down to 2:15. It stops for the moving of the sticks. This game is a 10-10 tie.
Mark May displaying some poise, took a lot of time on that fake, didn't hurry it, gave the receiver a chance to find the open spot, and then threw it low and outside. That's where you want the ball.
Not much on this play. Stopped right at the line of scrimmage. And that's Humes, hit by Thomas Harp. Clock to 1:53, 1:52 and counting. It's tied at 10 as they keep running the ball here. Dick Crum feeling better or more intense. He may still be in pain, but it goes away when the clock starts ticking down here.
The adrenaline starts to pump, and it's awfully tough to stay back there on that bench. He wants to see what's happening.
Getting down to it here. 2 timeouts remaining for Florida State, 3 for North Carolina. This is second down 9. North Carolina may not be able to run it all the way down there. This time they're going to go for it in the air. Is it picked off? No, it's incomplete. Almost snagged by number 16, Tracy Sanders. It does stop the clock with 1:17 left.
Fine break on the ball. Receiver went down, broke to the inside, then back out. The ball is being thrown to Lewis. Sanders makes a move on the ball. Boom. Can't quite hang up, really. Eric Lewis breaks the pass up.
So Bobby Bowden and Dick Crum seen their 2 teams battle to a 10-10 standoff with 1:17 to go. Here's Mark May under pressure, fumbles the ball. It's still loose. It belongs to the Seminoles at the 26-yard line. Gerald Nichols, number 79, is the man with the ball, and who would have thunk it? With 1:09 left. That causes Dick Crum to sit back down. His legs hurting again. Worse, a 20-yard loss, and then the recovery of the ball with 1:09 left.
You got a crossing pattern going. Looks like Bart Schutz making the play, knocking the ball loose. And Incrimonious, I don't know what that looks like Creighton Incrimonious. He's got his jersey tucked up, number 65, tried to pick the ball up. And that's the worst thing that could have happened at that point in time. Just cover the football, punt it out of there. Incredible.
So with 1:09 left, Florida State already within usual field goal range of Derek Schmidt, but he's had a very bad day. They hand it off to Victor Floyd, running it up the middle to the 20-yard line. Clock down to 1:04 and counting. We'll show you that clock more frequently as we go into this final minute of play. Keep you up to date on the time. It's down to 56 and counting. There you see it on the lower left. It's tied at 10, second down 4. Clock running. Florida State wants to get down there for obviously the touchdown if they can get it, but the field goal otherwise.
They'll probably run the ball to the left, wouldn't you think, Bob? Try to center it up a little bit.
Very well might. What an incredible play, a turnover. They have played such a tremendous role in this game, 3 for each team. Victor Floyd got it to the 20 and no more. Clock to 30, 29. Florida State has 2 timeouts remaining. This will be 3rd down and 4. Now, will they let it keep ticking? It's down to 23, 22. They'll probably let it get down to the point that they want to call it.
Exactly. They'll let it down to a couple seconds, but watch this now. Derek Donald blocked 2 field goal attempts last week. So this is going to be an exciting conclusion to a well-played football game.
11 seconds left, and Peter Tom Willis calls timeout over here. While he talks to Bobby Bowden, we'll take a timeout. It's tied at 10.
To make chili as good as my ma's, you need Italian tomatoes, Mexican beans, and my ma in the kitchen. How's it going, Ma?
How's your kitchen?
She's great. Knows just how hot I like it, and the tall, cold one I like with it. Natural Light, the beer with the taste for food. Ah, this is the life.
Get off the table.
Yeah, all natural, less filling. It's Natural Light from Anheuser-Busch.
Put a coaster under the beer.
You can't get much closer to the game than this, unless you're reading this. The Sporting News delivers more baseball coverage than your local paper and all the other sports weeklies and monthlies combined, plus everything you need to know about football, basketball, hockey, and boxing. So why not get the Sporting News and get in the game? Here's how.
You'll get 36 issues of the Sporting News and 2 preview issues for 3 payments of $5.99. Call toll-free 1-800-257-1234. 1-800-257-1234.
We're about to get a field goal attempt down here. They're going to spot the ball right about the 26-yard line, making it a 36-yard field goal attempt from Derek Schmidt. Coming into this game, Schmidt was 2 out of 3 for field goals. Today, though, he has missed from 45 and 44 yards. It's in the center of the field. Danny McManus is holding. It is wide to the left. Derek Schmidt has missed 3 times in a row with 8 seconds left. Oh, my.
Dick Crum just dodged the bullet sitting down. Unbelievable.
Remember now, if this game ends like this, which it probably will, it's going to be a 10-10 tie.
Derek Donald coming around the outside. He thinks it's good. He thinks he's got it.
It had a tremendous hook on it, and Derek Schmidt is 0 for 3 today, and what could have made the difference in this football game. And we said Florida State had the good kicking game, and North Carolina did not. This ball game is going to end, and it's going to be a disappointed home crowd for Florida State. They were favored by 8 points. Schmidt had 7 missed field goal opportunities all last year. He has 4 misses already in 1986. And a team beset with troubles and a strange season, North Carolina comes in here, beats the odds, and ties Florida State. So Florida State goes to 1-1-1. And Dick Crum's legs hurting probably a little less right now. This is Super Football Saturday on TNT.
The choice is yours at Capital Lincoln Mercury. Buy a new 86 Comanche, no interest. Cherokee, no interest. Or Alliance, no interest. Pay no interest charges. Or buy a new 86 Cougar with just 2.9% APR. Or save big on a new 86 Sable or other models in stock while they last. Or get up to $800 rebates. You make the choice. 0 interest rate, 2.9%, $800 rebates. The choice is yours now at Capital Lincoln Mercury AMC Jeep in Tallahassee. And no price increase.
We're called Precision Tune for a very good reason. Every time we tune your car, we complete a specific list of inspections, calibrations, checks, adjustments, and installations. And each one is done precisely. So now you have more than one reason to demand the precision of a Precision Tune tune-up. Fully guaranteed to make your car hum. A Precision Tune.
2 locations in Tallahassee, Appalachie Parkway near Blairstone Road and North Monroe Street between the malls.
10-10 tie. The last second field goal attempt is ruled bad, but watch it now. It hooks left, and Tim, tell me if he misses this.
Well, I'm not the official. I'm sure I understand why he had his arms up in the air. Unless that ball had more of a hook on it than he thought it would have at the end. You just never know when when it clears the crossbar to the left.
My, oh my, it's going to be a close call. They'll be looking at that film over and over again. At any rate, it's tied at 10. That's the final score from Tallahassee. Next week, we will be either broadcasting the Georgia-South Carolina game or the Tulane-Ole Miss game here on our daytime edition of Super Football Saturday. Today's game has been brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged with that distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all that you do, this Bud's for you. For Tim Foley and our entire TBS Sports crew, this is Bob Neal saying so long from Tallahassee.
This has been a presentation of Turner Network Television.